They did it. The New York Giants have done it. We've got breaking news here on New York Giants Now as Brian Daboll has been fired and is no longer the head coach of our New York Giants. He had been the New York Giants coach for the last 4+ seasons. In those years, he was 20-40-1. The bottom line is he did not win enough football games to maintain his job as the head coach. This is step one to make the New York Giants a winning organization again. Step two, fire Joe Schoen. If the Giants are serious about turning this around, if the Giants are serious about not being the laughingstock of the league anymore, and if they are serious about winning games anytime soon, they will send Daboll's Buffalo buddy, Joe Schoen, on the first Spirit flight out of town. They came in as a duo. They should leave as a duo. And it sucks that Brian Daboll, who earned the right to be fired, essentially has been fired because of Joe Schoen. I don't want to misconstrue this. Daboll earned the opportunity and earned the right to be fired. But Joe Schoen deserves to be fired even more. And he is next. And I will not stop. I will continue to do videos about firing Joe Schoen, because I know people inside the Giants building watch these videos and they need to get a clue. And the clue is, you better not be done firing people. Joe Schoen, he better be next. I appreciate everybody for being here. It's a hectic day. It's breaking news. Brian Daboll has been fired as the New York Giants head coach. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. I want everyone to sound off in the comment section for me. What is your one-word reaction to Brian Daboll being fired? I want to hear from everybody down in the comment section. A lot of people in the building. If you haven't yet, hit that thumbs up icon and let me know your one-word reaction to the news of the day. We got finally, deserved, finally, freedom, bye, euphoria, sigh, yay, see ya, took long enough, justice, amen. I just want Joe gone. I wish that was one word, and I think that is absolutely what needs to happen next. Got my guy Andrew Connell in the building today. Shout out to AC. He's getting everything going. We've been ripping and running. It's hectic. AC, how we feeling, my man?
I'm feeling good. I think the one-word reaction.
All right, we'll go back to AC as his mic is not working. What else is not working is Brian Daboll as the head coach of this football team. A lot of work to be done for this organization. They have to figure out who's going to be next. Right now, the interim head coach is going to be Mike Kafka. That is officially what is coming through the newsfeed. Mike Kafka has been named the interim head coach at this point. Brian Daboll reportedly informed his entire staff of the head coaching change in the meeting this morning. This is the fourth time in franchise history the New York Giants have fired a head coach midseason. The last time they did that was Ben McAdoo. Are we trying to get that figured out? Cool. It doesn't sound like at this point that the Giants are going to make other changes to the coaching staff, which is bullshit, to be quite frank. Shane Bowen should lose his job as well. He should be unemployed until the Giants fire Joe Schoen. They are not committed to winning. Until they fire Joe Schoen, they are okay with losing. That is what John Mara is telling you. We are okay with losing because we're going to continue to employ Joe Schoen, who is the best loser in the NFL. That's who he is, the best loser in the NFL. So yeah, step one is done. Step one to digging the Giants out of the grave is done. You have a shovel, but when you put the shovel to turf, it'll be when Joe Schoen is fired. And that's what needs to happen next. Look, Brian Daboll earned the right to be fired. Didn't win enough games. 20, 40, and 1. But his buddy from Buffalo should be going with him because he built this dog shit roster. He signed off on all the moves. And he has more pieces to the puzzle of all these losses than Brian Daboll because that's his football team. Step one is done. But the job is not finished. Get the losing stench out of the building. The Giants as a whole have been infected by losing. It's contagious. It has spread through this entire organization. And the only way to clean it up is by sweeping up the house, disinfecting the house. Get Joe Schoen out of the building. It needs to happen. It must happen. If it doesn't, you will continue to lose football games at the rate that you are right now, which is the best in the NFL. Breaking news. The New York Giants have fired Brian Daboll. He has been fired. We have 1,000 people in the building. If you could, please hit that thumbs up icon. If you're glad the Giants made a move to try to win football games, hit that thumbs up icon. There's going to be a major trickle-down effect after this move. How is this going to impact Jaxson Dart? How are the New York Giants going to respond? We will see. But the news of the day, Brian Daboll is no longer the head coach of the New York Giants. And hopefully Brian Daboll will be unemployed to go along with Joe Schoen. AC, is your mic working? Are you ready to play today, AC? It's a big day today.
I think we're ready to go. Chat, can you hear me? I'm fired up. This is great news. Listen, I would say a little surprised, a little happy. I know there's a couple words in there, but I thought if this was going to happen, we were going to get this early in the morning. I thought we were going to get this first thing in the morning. So once that didn't happen, I wasn't expecting it to happen today. But, hey, I think this is what we also, if we said yesterday, this is what we were calling for, this is what we wanted. So the fact that we're able to get it done, the quicker we can start winning some football games. I think that's what everyone wants.
It had to be done. Because if you didn't fire Brian Daboll today, Andrew Connell had told your fans we are okay with losing and losing in embarrassing fashion and not knowing how to win. Because, and I don't want to disrespect the man Brian Daboll. I like the man Brian Daboll. But as a head coach, he lost far too many games. And that's all that matters. You have to win games in this league. You can't be 20 and 40 and 1 if you want to maintain the job of the head coach as the New York Giants. Yeah, it had to be done.
That's what you're measured by. You're not measured by how well you speak in the post-game press conferences or how fiery you get on the sideline or even how much the players like you. It doesn't matter how much the players like you. If you don't win games, that's it. That's what every football team should be trying to do. That's what the Giants need to be trying to do. And it's not like they had a quick hook on Brian Daboll. He had 4 years to try and show them he could win games. And ultimately, he did it 1 year, but he wasn't consistent enough. And that was it. That's what sealed his fate. So,
over 1,000 people in the building, 1,200 people watching. If you could, please hit that thumbs up icon. If you have liked the video, type me. We'll give some shout outs. We want to make this the #1 most watched stream on Giants YouTube today. Appreciate everybody being here. There's a lot to unpack. We'll go over them. We already got a list of the top 10 coaches to keep an eye on to replace Brian Daboll. I hate this for Jaxson Dart, but I also know it needed to happen for Dart. What sucks is the offense wasn't the problem this year, Andrew Connell, and that's despite Malik Neighbors being hurt. That's despite Camp Scadaboo being hurt. You were able to score points. You were able to scheme people open that could not get open. It was the defense that got Brian Daboll fired this year. The offense is the past that led to a lot of losses, but your defense is the reason, Brian Daboll, that you got fired, and it comes back to you not being able to build a staff. That's the most important thing as a head coach. Can you put other talented coaches around you? You couldn't get along with Wink Martindale, who knows if he was any good or not. He didn't look too good at the end of his tenure. And you had no one else that wanted to come work for you a year and a half ago. So you settled on Shane Bowen, and Shane Bowen was the final straw that broke the camel's back of Brian Daboll being the head coach of this football team.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it doesn't matter. Most coaches are going to lean towards one side of the ball, but as the head coach, you have to take ownership of the entire team. And the whole idea of him struggling with his staff just reminds me of, remember when he was hired, he was supposedly had this revolutionary hiring process where he was like using the already previously hired assistants to help interview all of the prospective assistants that were coming in, and everyone was saying how commending him for doing things differently and not just picking his own guys. But obviously he had trouble working with a lot of guys that came in, and it didn't work out for him in New York.
Just lost too many games. You lost too many games, and you can't do that. Today is a day that I hope we forever remember, not as the day that Brian Daboll got fired, that the New York Giants were done with losing and that they were okay with losing. Because as long as you employed Brian Daboll, you told your fan base that, hey, it's okay that we lose. We're not making any changes. So step 1 of the list of how to make the Giants great again, check mark. Step 2, fire Joe Schoen. Job's not finished. Send the Buffalo duo packing together. Put them on middle seats on Spirit. I don't give a shit. Fire them both so the New York Giants can get back to a state of competitive football where they win games, not where they blow 33, where they allow a defense to give up 33 points to the Denver Broncos in the fourth quarter, not where you blow 3 double-digit leads in the fourth quarter in the same season. Show a commitment to winning. You did today by firing Brian Daboll. Thank you, John Mara. Now get off your ass and clean out the freaking office of Joe Schoen, because he's got to go next, or you'll continue to lose football games. You are 20, 40, and 1 in your last 61 games as an organization. Think about that. You've played 61 games under Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen, and you've won 20 of them. Multiple people should be fired. Brian Daboll, Joe Schoen, Shane Bowen, and quite frankly, anybody who gets a paycheck that's not a player from the Giants, they can go too. They can be fired as well. Get the losing stench out of the building. Do it, or it's going to stick around, and it's going to continue to haunt you. You should have made this move last year, Andrew Connell. It was easy. It was easy to see. You should have made the move last year. You didn't, and now you have a wasted season because of it.
Yeah, that's it. The Giants, like, at this point, the season's over. What are they, 2-8? I mean, it's just, you never know. With the talent on this roster, a new coach came. Last time they brought in a new coach with a talented roster, they took that into a playoff run. That was with Brian Daboll. Then the long-term project and success with Daboll obviously didn't work. That's it. I mean, he's gone. I think this is the first step in a positive change for the organization. And hopefully we don't have to feel this again and go through this again. I remember after Brian Daboll's first season, I was like, finally, they end the cycle of hiring a coach, firing him, hiring a coach, firing him. Maybe they found their long-term guy. He won Coach of the Year after his first season, and it turns out it was just fool's gold. He came back, was not good the next couple seasons. Yeah, they should have known that after last year, the way that the team performed, the losing after those consecutive seasons, that he wasn't the guy.
And the Giants, a.k.a. Joseph Schoen, the slimiest man in the NFL, is already painting the narrative, Andrew Connell, that it's all because of Brian Daboll. Connor Hughes saying, the feeling internally, I'm told, is that the Giants believe the talent is better than the results have shown. The talent is better? No, the hell it's not. It's not better, Joe Schoen. You know why? Because the places the Giants are weak is because of you missing in the NFL draft. Paulson Adebo goes down. Andrew Connell, who fills in for him? A first-round pick in Deonte Banks. He's unplayable. Unplayable. Oh, Malik Neighbors goes down. Who backs him up? Second-round pick in Wan'Dale Robinson, third-round pick in Jalen Hyatt, and $36 million for Drops McGee Slayton. So every area the New York Giants are weak. It's because the players you have added there stink. The roster stinks. The coaching stinks. The front office stinks. Everything must go. All of it. Andrew Connell, if the roster was good enough, they would have won more than 2 games out of their first 10 last year. If the roster was good enough, they would have won more than 2 games out of their first 10 last year. If the roster was good enough, they wouldn't have started the year 2-7 3 years ago. The talent's not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a roster, like if it's a coaching problem, that's not going to make you lose every single game. You're going to have a situation here or there that doesn't get handled properly if it's a coaching problem. But ultimately, when you routinely get beat over and over and over again, it means that the players are not good enough. And I think the Giants have some good players on their roster, but I think the Giants...
How many?
Not enough. Not
enough.
Yeah.
Not enough. You're 2-8. If your football team was so good and so talented, they wouldn't have blown the lead against Denver. They wouldn't have blown the lead against Dallas. They wouldn't have blown the lead against Chicago. It's an entire organizational lack of talent. And for Joe Schoen to sit in his office where he uttered some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen, ever, on freaking TV in Hard Knocks, he gets to keep a job.
Yep, and this will be interesting because I believe the Giants are, the NFC East is the in-season division Hard Knocks, so we'll get a front row seat to what went down behind the scenes exactly as this happened, and we'll see how Joe Schoen tries to spin this.
I hate to say this, but if it takes what it takes, I'll root for it. I will root for a loss every single week the rest of the year if it means Joe Schoen is fired. If that's what it takes, if it takes 7 more losses for Joe Schoen to be fired, well, I'm praying for 7 more losses. Because if you're going to keep a GM who in year 4, Andrew Connell, is 2-15, you don't care about winning.
Yeah, Joe Schoen's not good enough at his job. He misses on premium draft picks over and over and over again. Like you talked about, guys that are supposed to step in for the Giants' best players are high, top 3-round draft picks that are just busts. Look at Evan Neal. He doesn't even play. Deonte Banks, one of the worst players, if not the worst player on the Giants' defense. Tyler Nubin hasn't been good. John Michael Schmitz has been average at center. And Jalen Hyatt can't even get on the field. And these are guys the Giants can't even trade for 7th-round picks at the trade deadline. You cannot miss on picks like that and expect to get wins. That's it. That's how you build your football team.
They are a failure from top to bottom. And the fact that Joe Schoen continues to be employed at this very moment continues to tell your fans we are not committed to winning. You know why? Because all Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen do is lose. All they do is lose, 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 no matter what. No matter what, they lose. Shout out DJ Khaled, 2-8 this year, 3-19 in your last 22, 5-22 in your last 27. And inside your division, Andrew Connell, you are a get-right game for every other team.
Yeah, I think that's why you saw the euphoria from the fans when the Giants were able to actually beat the Eagles this year, because it's been so long where we felt like we can compete and been at the level of the Cowboys and the Eagles. And then even the Commanders last year, we saw them go to the NFC Championship game. The Giants have routinely been the bottom dweller of the NFC East over the last 5 to 10 years. That didn't change against with Brian Daboll, and hasn't been the case under Joe Schoen as well. And we're just tired. So hopefully this is a hopeful day for Giants fans. It's a sign of change, that positive change is on the horizon, and hopefully it continues. We'll see what happens with Joe Schoen, but at least Brian Daboll is done in New York.
It's not enough. It's not enough. You are 20, 40, and 1 under Joe Schoen. When he took over, you picked 5th in the draft. Then you made the playoffs and you won a playoff game. And then you picked 6th. And then last year you picked 3rd. And if the season ended today, you would be picking 3rd again. You're supposed to be progressing every year. The only thing that Joe Schoen is good at is landing his team a pick in the top 10. He's the best, the greatest. He's the greatest at getting his team to pick inside the top 10. The worst part is he doesn't even hit on top 10 picks.
Nope.
Kayvon Thibodeau, 5th overall pick, that's a single. That's a single. You got on base. Evan Neal, you struck out swinging on 3 straight swings. Nice job picking Malik Neighbors. Anyone with the pulse knew that he was the pick. And also everyone knew Abdul Carter was the pick. You know who he didn't know was the pick? Was Jaxson Dart. Brian Daboll wanted Jaxson Dart. Joe Schoen wanted Shedeur Sanders. He's a loser. Joe Schoen is a loser. And until he's fired, the New York Giants will be a loser.
Yeah, you look at some of the best teams in the league. Where do they build their football teams? 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round. Joe Schoen hasn't even been able to hit on the early round picks. It's sad. And Brian Daboll didn't do enough to keep his job as well, but let's not act like Brian Daboll was given wine. He was given water and asked to turn it into wine.
Jaxson Dart deserves for Joe Schoen to be fired. Jaxson Dart deserves for Joe Schoen to be fired. You think Joe Schoen's going to be able to build a winner around Jaxson Dart? He can't even make the right pick at number 7 overall or number 5 overall or 24 overall. Until the New York Giants fire Joe Schoen, they are committing to losing because Joe Schoen, he's the best, the greatest at losing. That's what he is. He is a career loser. Nobody is better at getting their team to pick inside the top 10 than Joe Schoen. It's unreal. It is unreal. We got 2,000 people in the building. If you could, please subscribe to the channel. Please hit that thumbs up icon. If you're subscribed and you've liked the video, type me in the chat. We had a couple of super chats come in. We'll roll through those coming up in a little bit. We're going to be live as long as you guys want us to be live. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your questions. I want to hear your suggestions. We got 10 coaching candidates to go over as well. In the afternoon, we'll have a Brian Daboll replacement video to get into. Every single super chat gets up on the screen. So if you want to be on the screen on today's show, send in a super chat. We got a 3-point goal. Money Mazza, bang! My man, Money Mazza, $50 super chat. We appreciate you, my man. Says, who is your ideal pick for the head coach? And is this now going to turn into a tanking season? Well, one, the New York Giants don't have to tank because all they do is lose no matter what. Up by 20 against Denver, loss. Up by 3 against the Cowboys, less than a minute, loss. Up by 10 in the fourth quarter against the Bears, loss. You don't have to try to lose, Money Mazza. You got Joe Schoen. He's the greatest. He's the best. You don't have to try to lose because you had a 95% chance to beat the Cowboys and you lost. You had a 99.8% chance to beat the Broncos and lost. You had a 97% chance to beat the Bears and lost. The chance of losing all three of these games is equivalent to flipping a coin and it landing on heads 18 times in a row. Anyone that flips a coin today and gets heads 18 times in a row and sends it to me, I'll put it on the channel and I'll send you $100 because you can't fucking do it. But the New York Giants, they know how to do it. The greatest at losing, Andrew Connell, Joe Schoen.
Yep. He does it in ways that we, like you say all the time, the Giants invent ways to lose every single week. Just when you think they've got it in the bag, they reel you in, oh, we might be turning the corner. Nope, we're just the same old Giants. And yesterday was one of the worst, most slow, painful choke jobs that they've had yet this season. And we all knew it was coming. We knew it was coming. As soon as Dart goes out, it's over. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I think we're good for now. Thank you, brother.
So it's something had to be done. And Brian Daboll, like you said, just the first step. It's not going to be – you're only Band-Aiding the problem if you bring in a new coach with Joe Schoen.
And you have a gash that needs 18 stitches.
Yeah, so it's not enough, and we'll see if Joe Schoen makes it through the season. To be determined on that. Right now, the report was that they're not going to make any other changes at this point, I believe. So for now, it's Joe Schoen and Mike Kafka as the interim head coach for the New York Giants. And we'll see. For Mike Kafka, it's an opportunity to show what you got. I don't know if he's in serious consideration for getting a long-term job.
I hope not. Nobody that is employed by the Giants should be employed by the Giants at the end of the year.
Yeah, like you said earlier today, they need to disinfect the entire building from the culture and the continued losing that they had under this regime.
For my ideal pick for head coach, I don't know who my ideal pick yet is at this point, Money Mazza. I think some names to keep an eye on. Clint Kubiak, NFL royalty. His dad, Gary Kubiak, longtime Texans head coach, Super Bowl winning head coach with the Denver Broncos. Keep your eye on him. I think Mike McCarthy is a name to keep your eye on. Look, I'm not saying people I would hire. I'm saying people to keep your eye on. I think Mike McCarthy is one. I know everyone wants to talk about Lane Kiffin. I know people want to talk about Brian Flores. You could talk about Jesse Mentor, the Chargers defensive coordinator. Maybe Todd Monken, the Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinator. What if the Browns fire Kevin Stefanski? What if the Steelers fire Mike Tomlin? What if it falls off the rails in Baltimore and they fire Harbaugh? And as I sat home last night, sulking and thinking, what could the New York Giants do to fix this? Are we sure that John Mara, in the state he is in, God bless his soul, all prayers for him, we're rooting the best for him. We hope you kick cancer's ass, John Mara. With the state John Mara is in, are we sure he's not going to just pick up the phone and call Bill Belichick and say, come save the New York Giants? We're at the lowest we've ever been. You won Super Bowls here as the defensive coordinator. You're the best head coach ever. You're the smartest football mind ever. Are we sure John Mara's not going to call Bill Belichick?
I think you can't rule it out. I think that would be kind of a move to just raise the floor of the Giants. I'm not sure that gets them a super high ceiling with Bill Belichick at his age at this point, but you'd have to think Bill Belichick would have some of the things cleaned up that the Giants haven't done, just simple football, basic things that we've seen them take the wrong angles on tackles and not have the situation, play the right situation or seal the edge when they need to. You'd have to think Bill Belichick would clean some of those things up, but is Bill Belichick going to win a Super Bowl? And does he have time to coach long enough to build a Super Bowl contender? Who knows? But I wouldn't rule it out, like you said.
The Giants are at an all-time low. John Mara is going through serious life stuff. Again, praying, hoping, wishing the best for him. Go kick cancer's ass, John Mara. But with where he is at and how low the New York Giants have fallen, and we know the love affair the Maras and Tisches have for Belichick and Belichick has for them and the Giants, are we sure he doesn't pick up the phone and say, Bill, it's time for you to come home and save the once great New York Giants? And I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but I think we'd all be dumb to think that that does not happen. I can promise you John Mara will call Bill Belichick. Yes. Money Mazza, we will have a full video on the channel about Brian Daboll replacements. We'll get working on that once we sign off on today's show. But that's kind of a quick list right there. 2,200 people watching. If you could, please hit that thumbs up icon. Subscribe to the channel. We got 2,100 people watching, only 500 likes. Can we get to 1,000 likes right now?
Let's go.
We greatly appreciate it. If you have liked the video, type me in the chat.
If you're happy Brian Daboll is fired, the Giants have finally decided to take action on their losing season. Like the video. We want to get all the Giants fans in here talking about what's next for the Giants, who might be some potential head coach targets, celebrate the fact that the Giants are trying to change their losing ways. So if that sounds like you, go ahead, like the video. It's only going to help get more people in here so we can all celebrate and talk about what's next for the Giants. And, yeah, type your me's. Appreciate you, Money Mazza. And, yeah, everyone, we saw a bunch of Super Chats come in. We're going to start running through all those now. We appreciate every single one.
Please hit that thumbs up icon and type me once you have. Depressed Bears fan says you're welcome. Yeah, I don't really I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, thank you, I guess. You're trust me. You're about reason 558 why Brian Daboll got fired.
It was like the last little piece of straw that went on top of already a 500-pound thing on that camel's back. So
Remy the Enforcer, what up, my man? Marine Corps B-Day today. B-Day gift is by Daboll. Look, I feel bad for the guy Brian Daboll. I like the guy Brian Daboll. I don't think he got the fairest shake. That's not fair to say. He didn't get a fair shake. He didn't get the most resources put around him to be a consistent winner in this league. But he earned the right to be fired. I don't want to mistake that. I want to make that abundantly clear on my end. Brian Daboll earned the right to be fired. But he shouldn't be fired alone. Joe Schoen, he should go as well. He should go as well. He should go as well. Mike G, $5 super chat. Best news on a Monday since the Giants beat Philly. I don't know if I can get up here and hoot and holler and celebrate that the Giants fired Brian Daboll, because it is a sad day. Because you're so freaking bad, you got to fire a head coach midway through the season. Only the 4th time the New York Giants have done it. I'm happy because hopefully this means the New York Giants can get back to being committed to winning football games. That's why I'm happy. That's why I'm happy. Mike G, we appreciate you. Matthew O, the best news to hear on a Monday. What up, Marsh, from my backup account? Matthew O, I appreciate you, my man. I don't know what's going on with the account, but I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're still locked in. If you missed it, Brian Daboll has been fired. The New York Giants have named Mike Kafka the interim head coach. At the time of recording this video and this live stream, it doesn't sound as if they are making any other staff changes yet, and it sounds like Joe Schoen is going to keep his job. So, it's time. It's time to clean house. And the fact that you fired Schoen before Brian Daboll continues to put color to the picture of how inept you are as a franchise.
You mean they did not fire Schoen yet, and he's staying as well. It seems like he's not there. He was not fired as well. Yeah, Brian Daboll didn't do a good enough job, but Shane Bowen, I think, is pretty clear to say was the worst coach on this Giants staff this season so far.
Unreal. Yeah, supposedly the Giants hold Joe Schoen in high regard. I mean, who else could have put that LED draft board up there, man? Who else could have went from printing paper on draft boards to whiteboards and projectors and all that?
Yeah, the best thing that Joe Schoen ever happened to Joe Schoen was the fact that Dave Gettleman was a GM before him. That's what the Giants are measuring him against. And it's not even, I wouldn't even say it's a clear like matchup there. Dave Gettleman drafted a lot of good players in the first round that the Giants, some of them the Giants still have. Andrew Thomas, Dexter Lawrence. So, yeah.
Edward says, why isn't Joe Schoen's seat hot? You know why? Because the Giants aren't committed to winning. The Giants aren't committed to winning. If they were, they would fire Joe Schoen. He's 20-40-1 as the GM. All he does is lose, lose, lose no matter what. 33-point fourth quarter allowed? Yeah, we'll lose that game. Mike G. Joe, more of the blame than anyone. I 100% agree. Brian Daboll earned the right to be fired, but Joe Schoen is lapping Brian Daboll on the amount of ways he's earned the right to be fired. Missed draft picks, missed free agency signings, bad trades. Don't forget that one. Needs to be gone. March for GM in 2026. I'll say this much. If I was the Giants GM and head coach, I bet I could win 2 of my first 10 games. Give me 3 years to do it. That's what Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll have done.
Just
unreal. Unreal. Jotman, what up, bro? $10 super chat. Appreciate you, bro. Congratulations on Daboll getting fired. Just need to fire the GM next. But that probably won't happen until the end of the season. Just hope your next one is also incompetent, a Cowboys fan. If I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm upset they fired Brian Daboll. He never beat him.
Yeah, the Giants continue to lose games. Why would you want the NFC East got bad news, got terrible news today that the Giants moved on from Brian Daboll. The Giants under Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen have not been able to make any headway in their division. That was kind of a big thing when they got hired, was to try and catch the Eagles and try and catch the Cowboys at the time, were a perennial playoff team as well. And now you have the Commanders with Jaden Daniels, who will be better than they've been in recent history. So they need to get someone who can elevate the Giants to that level and beyond that level, hopefully, because I'm sick of every time they show that graphic of the NFC East hasn't had a repeat division champion that gets shown almost every weekend in the NFL on football broadcasts. You look at it, and the Giants, it's Cowboys, Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, Commanders, Cowboys, Eagles. The Giants haven't barely won the division at all in the last 20 years. They need to start just getting more respect and being better in their own division.
Unreal. Unreal. Carlos, what up, my man? Thank you for the super chat. Says, love the fact that as soon as I hear any news, you are ready on live giving us more information. Carlos, I appreciate you, man. Look, we bust our tails here at Chat Sports, myself, Andrew Connell included. We got an awesome team out there as well that helped this live show get ready to roll. If you're not subscribed like Carlos, change it. We are on the way to 100,000 subscribers. If you love the Giants, you want to see them turn it around, and you bleed Giants blue, hit that sub button right now. Help us run this number up and become the first only Giants channel to 100,000 subscribers. Carlos, we appreciate you, my man. If you are subscribed, type me, The Masked Gamer. About damn time. Hopefully Joe Schoen is next soon. Andrew Connell, I will task you with the impossible. Give me 2 reasons, if you're Joe Schoen, they should keep their job. I mean, you got the Football Power Index today from ESPN saying the Giants are the 15th best team in the NFL.
Yeah, I know, Joe Schoen. That could have been the last thing that happened. Joe Schoen went to John Mara's office and said, look, John, we're supposed to be the 15th best team in the NFL. I got you the players. We're just not winning games. It's not my fault. If I'm Joe Schoen, and we know that it's been well publicized that he wasn't the reason that Jaxson Dart is a Giant, but I'm sure he's saying, "Oh, I was the one who actually turned in the card, John. I was the one who made the decision.
I got us him and Abdul Carter."
Look at that. Look at all the guys. Look at Malik Neighbors. You like him? You like Cam Scadaboo? I drafted him. I'm sure he's doing that. I'm sure he's talking about that Brian Burns trade. Look at that, Joe. I got Brian Burns for a second.
And a fifth and $150 million.
Yeah. So it's hard for me to make a good faith compelling argument as to why he should stay. I would not talk about the depth of the roster at all. I would just talk about some of the big name players that the Giants do have. If I'm Joe Schoen, maybe I talk about how I signed Andrew Thomas and Dexter Lawrence to contract extensions. But Andrew Thomas, I love Andrew Thomas. He's been hurt a lot. Dexter Lawrence has not had a good season this year. So we'll see. I don't know what he's saying. Like we've said, it's obvious that John Mara likes Joe Schoen. You talked about that a lot in your video that went out last night, is that John Mara, something that Joe Schoen's saying is resonating with John Mara because he likes him, he kept him, and he got rid of Brian Daboll.
Job one complete. But the most important next step is firing Joe Schoen. And until the Giants fire Joe Schoen, they are telling you they are not committed to winning. We have over 2,000 people in the chat. If you could, please hit that thumbs up icon. We're 175 likes away from 1,000 likes. Please, please, please hit that thumbs up icon. My man Seth Gross in the building. Give me some SGs in the chat. He's coming in with a $50 super chat. Seth Gross, you're a legend, my man. Thank you for being here, brother. Breaking news, Brian Daboll has been fired as the head coach.
We got a 3-point goal. Seth Gross, bang!
Seth Gross, I appreciate you, my man. Says we've had 10 years of futility, starting with McAdoo. What makes you think the next decision is a step towards relevancy? This organization has been the equivalent of a pandemic. I hear all that. And you know what? I don't have any belief the New York Giants will get it right. I have blind hope, Seth Gross. As a fan, a diehard fan that loves this team, I have blind hope. I have blind hope. I don't have any reason to believe that John Mara will get this right. I don't have any reason to believe that Joe Schoen will get this right. I have blind hope. And I also wonder, as I sound like a simp, are they due? Are they due to get the head coach right?
It seemed like it. I thought that was the case after the first season with Brian Daboll. I was like, wow, we finally did it. We finally did it. And I think John Mara thought he did it too because he gave Daboll a little more time. He didn't fire him after last year. He thought, no, I really believe in this guy. I think we got the guy. And it was just clear that he's just not the guy. So, yeah, after a couple mishires, I don't know. Even a broken clock is right twice a day, so maybe the Giants will luck into something because I don't have any confidence they're going to actually make the right move on their own.
I'm hoping they make the right move, but I also look at it like this. We knew Daboll wasn't the answer, so go searching for the answer.
Yeah, I mean, hey, like we talked about wanting to maybe get this done earlier to get a head start on it. The Giants now can look and vet all candidates across the league. They can watch other teams, their coordinators, try and figure out who's really giving them an advantage, who could make a good head coach one day. At least they didn't sit on their hands and just leave him out there as a lame duck, knowing they were going to fire him at the end of the season. I think they saw that maybe the players had quit a little bit. Who knows? But I don't think they were going to gain anything from running Brian Daboll out there the rest of the season.
I cannot believe that Shane Bowen is still employed. Until you fire Shane Bowen, you will continue to lose football games in the same ways that you've lost football games 3 times this year, which is 3 games where you had a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter and you lost. All 3 of these games with 94+% chances to win late in the game. Andrew Connell, we said it after the Dallas Cowboys game. If you don't fire Shane Bowen, you'll lose another game because of Shane Bowen. Little did I know you'd lose 2 more games because of Shane Bowen.
The idea of continue or making a mistake or having something that you identify and it's clear as day that it's wrong. In this case, it was Shane Bowen as a whole, but especially more specifically the way they played defense at the end of that game. And thinking something's going to change is crazy. They saw Shane Bowen make mistakes. They didn't make any sort of change, and look what happened. The same thing happened. That shouldn't be surprising or shocking to anyone. So it sucks that Brian Daboll, I mean, that doesn't suck, but it's maybe a little bit misguided that Daboll is the one to go before Shane Bowen, like you said, kind of crazy. But ultimately, as the head coach, you have to be accountable and take ownership of everyone underneath you on your staff. And doesn't seem like that's what Joe Schoen's doing. He's not taking accountability for the fact that he was the one who pounded the table and hired Brian Daboll, and he's getting a little bit of a pass on this. At least
so you can't hire a head coach. You can't draft in the first round. You can't draft in the fourth or third round. You don't make trades that benefit the team outside of Brian Burns. You signed Daniel Jones to $86 million, wasted that. You wasted Drew Lock's money on Drew Lock. You wasted money on Russell Wilson. I mean, I could spend 24 hours coming up with reasons Joe Schoen needs to be fired. I'm still looking for a reason for him to stay hired because I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Seth, I don't know why I think the New York Giants can get it right. I believe they can. And it's blind hope and it's blind optimism. That's all we got. Oh, and you let Saquon Barkley walk for nothing when you could have traded him, but you didn't because he aged himself 10 years by going through the first franchise tag. But, hey, he's at college games every Saturday. They're staying at the building, working hard. He's a loser, and the New York Giants will continue to be losers until they fire Joe Schoen. Don, what up, man? Says, pass the cigarette. Dave will be smoking a victory cigar tonight. He's going to be getting paid this year and next year with no job. He's laughing at the Giants, saying, you guys think I'm the problem? He's a part of the problem, 100%. He earned the right to be fired. But he should be going out in handcuffs with Joe Schoen right now, together. Griffin Case, does Kafka have the power to fire Bowen as the interim? No. No, that would be a GM decision. That would be a Joe Schoen decision. It would. Matthew O, now that Daboll's gone, who is replacing him? Mike Kafka is the interim head coach. Andrew Connell, there is a List 10 logo that has been moved over. Let's pop that up. Let's go List 5 first and then List 10 for the same graphic. I had my team, my guys, my boys that work here at Chat Sports to come up with a list of 10 candidates that could be future Brian Daboll replacements. They cooked up a list. I'm interested to see who they have on it. Here we go. The first 5, Mike McCarthy, ex-Dallas Cowboys head coach. Again, these aren't coaches that I am saying the New York Giants should go out and hire. These are names that I think we should all grow familiar with. Mike McCarthy, Super Bowl champ. 3 straight 12-win seasons for the Cowboys. His offense is seriously outdated. His offense is stuck in the past. He knows how to win. I think he can bring a culture, but overall, he's not very high on my list.
I feel like he's another, he's just a floor raiser. Like, the Giants won't be a bottom 10 pick in the top 10 in the NFL probably if Mike McCarthy's your head coach, but do we really think Mike McCarthy is going to bring the Giants back to the Super Bowl? Like, if that's not what you're trying to do with this hire, what are you doing? Like, that's the goal of every single football team is to try and build a Super Bowl contender. And you don't want to just have a floor-raising head coach. You want to have a guy who you think can take you to the big game and win the big game. And Mike McCarthy proved, obviously he won in Green Bay, but he proved in Dallas that he was unable to win the big game. So that's my thoughts on Mike McCarthy.
I think Bill Belichick will be on the list of people to get an interview. Do I think Bill Belichick should get this job? I lean towards no at this point. But we know the connections between the Giants and Belichick and the Giants. He loves the Giants, they love Bill Belichick. And Andrew Connell, in an age where the Giants are maybe in the darkest days of their existence, at least in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Are we going to be shocked if John Mara picks up the phone, calls up his old buddy, the guy that's got more Super Bowl rings than any head coach ever, and says, can you come save the Giants? Are we going to be shocked if that happens?
I'm not going to be shocked. The Giants have always been a very I'll say like family-oriented type of organization where they've looked at guys who have worked for the organization before to hold roles of prominence with him. That's why they brought back Dave Gettleman, because he rose up to earn his position with the Carolina Panthers within the New York Giants system. They've always been hiring internally. Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll were the first external guys who really didn't have history with the New York Giants who were hired. It wouldn't shock me to see John Mara try and revert to that. He has a lot of respect. Obviously, he's grown up. His whole family the Mara family is the New York Giants. They believe in what's going on here, but I think it's very clear that what's been going on in the Giants organization is not working, and they need to try and get someone from the outside to bring the winning ways in, because the winning ways of the Giants have been long gone for a while.
I don't think it's the worst idea in the world. I'm just not sure it's the best idea in the world. If he got his life straightened up and his focus fully got back to football, we can talk. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, like you said, I think there's probably better hires out there. There's probably worse hires out there. Ultimately, like if the reality is that Bill Belichick is the next head coach of the Giants, you could do worse than having the greatest football coach of all time as your head coach.
Clint Kubiak is a name that's at the top of my list. He been awesome this year with the Seattle Seahawks. He is their offensive coordinator, son of Gary Kubiak, Super Bowl winning head coach with the Denver Broncos, and Peyton Manning. Clint Kubiak has that Seattle Seahawks offense humming. He was also the offensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints last year. He was the offensive coordinator for the 2021 Minnesota Vikings. With the Vikings, and Justin Jefferson's a beast, but he knew how to get him the football. With the Saints last year, they started off the season white hot, 2-0, best offense in the league. Then it went to shit in New Orleans. And this year, JSN is on pace to have one of the best receiving seasons ever. He has Sam Darnold clicking, and I think with this next role, and you say this always, you need a guy that can maximize Jaxson Dart. I understand people that are going to say Andrew Connell, but Marshall, we need an experienced head coach that's done it. I like Clint Kubiak a lot as this next head coach.
I think you hit the nail on the head with that. Look at he's maximizing the talents of the guys on Seattle's roster. You look at Sam Darnold; he's having a phenomenal year. The Seahawks are winning games. JSN is on pace to potentially break the NFL single-season receiving yards. I don't think anyone looks at that Seattle offense and says, wow, like before the season started, said this is going to be such an explosive offense. They're going to score a lot of points. But Kubiak is putting them in position to succeed, and they're winning a lot of games. And I think a lot of it's because of that offense. Obviously, they've got a talented defense as well. But like you said, we've said earlier before Brian Daboll was fired that if the Giants do fire him, they need to look for a coach who can maximize Jaxson Dart and help him reach his full potential, because he's already very good, and we know he can get to that next level, but he needs a coach who can help him get there.
I am slacking you a photo link to TV. Let's go to that full screen. Lane Kiffin is another name. And for you guys ask me about Lane Kiffin all the time. I think the only reason he would be even remotely someone to be considered for this job is because he was the head coach of Jaxson Dart in college. But I think Jaxson Dart is good enough to where you don't just have to hire his college head coach. He is a coach. He is a quarterback that's going to attract a lot of coaches. And I'll say this, if you fire Joe Schoen, this will be the most attractive head coach job in the National Football League. With Joe Schoen, I don't know about that. Who wants to work with a guy that can't make the picks inside the top 10, can't make picks in round 2, can't make picks in round 3, gives $86 million to the wrong quarterback. So that's for Lane Kiffin. We'll come back to this. The New York Giants just released a statement. Here it is. The New York Giants announced today that head coach Brian Daboll has been relieved of his duties. Assistant head coach, offensive coordinator Mike Kafka will serve as the interim head coach. Quote, "We spoke this morning about the direction of our franchise on the field, and we have decided at this time it is in our best interest to make a change at the head coaching position," President John Mara and Chairman Steve Tisch said in a joint statement. Quote, "The past few seasons have been nothing short of disappointing, and we have not met our expectations for this franchise. We understand the frustrations of our fans, and we will work to deliver a significantly improved product. We appreciate head coach Daboll for his contributions to our organization. We wish the Daboll family all the best in the future. Go to that photo to the left for me if you can, Andrew Connell, because I want to pick apart every single word that was said in this statement by the New York Giants. The past few seasons have been nothing short of disappointing, and we have not met our expectations for this franchise. We understand the frustrations of our fans. Here comes Andrew Connell. And we will work to deliver a significantly improved product. But you're going to keep the GM? You're going to keep the GM that hired the head coach? You're going to keep the GM that drafted Evan Neal? You're going to keep the GM that traded up for Deonte Banks? You're going to keep the GM that traded up for Jalen Hyatt? You're going to keep the GM that gave Daniel Jones $86 million? How are you going to deliver a significantly improved product, Andrew Connell, if the head decision makers stay the same?
Yeah, the fact that you even have to say that. Have they not been doing that? Have they not been trying to field the best football team possible? That should be a given. You shouldn't have to explicitly say that you're going to try and make the best team possible, put the best team possible out on the field.
What? Jesus Christ. Ari Mirov is saying GM Joe Schoen will lead the search for a new head coach. I'm not seeing anyone else say that. I'm not saying he is wrong, but obviously kind of no shit. He is the general manager of this football team. But again, there's still 7 games to go. And if you lose these next 7 games and you're 2-14, I don't understand how you can continue to employ Joe Schoen.
Yeah.
But don't worry, Andrew Connell.
They'll have a top 3 pick if that's the case. And do you want him making another one of those selections?
They're going to work to deliver a significantly improved product, but they're going to keep the same general manager in place.
That makes me feel so much better. They're going to try. They weren't trying. Maybe they weren't trying before, but now they're going to try. So we'll see. But
John Mara on Joe Schoen saying, we feel like Joe has assembled a good young nucleus of talent and we look forward to its development. Unfortunately, the results over the past 3 years have not been what any of us want. We take full responsibility for those results and look forward to the kind of success our fans expect. Wow. So they're keeping Joe Schoen. They're keeping Joe Schoen. The New York Giants are losers. The New York Giants are losers. They're going to work to significantly improve the product, but we're going to keep the same guy that made all the decisions to put the roster in this spot.
that is missed on countless picks over and over again. So, yeah, you guys heard it. Giants are not firing Joe Schoen. They're holding on to him. He will lead the next head coaching search to replace Brian Daboll. John Mara gives him his vote of confidence, trusts him.
They are allergic to winning and addicted to losing. If you could put this photo up there. We feel like Joe has assembled a good nucleus of talent. He picked 3rd. He picked 6th. He picked 5th. he picked 7th. I hope it would be a nucleus of talent. We feel like Joe has assembled a good young nucleus of talent, and we look forward to its development. Unfortunately, the results over the past 3 years have not been what any of us want. We take full responsibility for those results and look forward to the kind of success our fans expect. Those are difficult decisions, and John and I do not take them lightly, said Steve Tisch. But we feel like this is the right thing to do at this time and will allow us to move forward. What's the point? What's the point of watching this team play football anymore? What's the point of rooting for this team? What is the point of spending money to support this team? They don't support you, Giants fans. It's not supposed to be a one-way street.
So that's it. The next head coach, and I don't know if it's going to be someone he has ties to or something, because like you said, there's not going to be too many people that are going to be eager to come work for a guy that now has, it's not a clean slate with the Giants.
Joe Schoen is staying. An unserious organization. An unserious organization. You're going to get the 3rd overall pick in the draft, and he's going to fuck it up. Again. He's a lousy general manager. Lousy. Lousy. I'm so fucking pissed off.
Just means that a lot of
It means that nothing's going to change.
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff is true about Joe Schoen probably bad-mouthing Brian Daboll, and kind of that power struggle went on, and Joe Schoen won it.
You think Joe Schoen could build a Super Bowl roster?
Don't have any confidence in that based on his first 4 years.
The Giants are telling you that they think he could do that.
They do, obviously. He's got to start hitting on some draft picks if that's going to happen. But yeah, Giants fire Brian.
What head coach
Daboll.
wants to work with Joe Schoen? You just sold out your best friend from Buffalo.
Yeah, it's not a good look. And some of these guys now may not want to come work with Joe Schoen.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. When you refuse to make changes, you will continue to get the results you've gotten, which is loss after loss after loss. Let's run through some super chats.
Yeah, shout out to everyone who super chatted. We're going to try and catch up. I know a lot of them came in.
Appreciate everybody being here. Over 2,000 people watching. If you haven't yet, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We'll get all super chats up on the screen.
Eminence and Shadow comes in with 5, says, I think the only person we keep is that offensive line coach. He has made them at least average.
I like Carmen Brasillo. I do. I think it's the best staff move that that Brian Daboll has made. I cannot believe they are keeping Joe Schoen.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. And to come out with such a strong positive statement means
You didn't even have to do that today.
Yeah, they didn't have to.
How about we will continue to evaluate everything in the organization going forward over the next 7 games?
Why does he need to feel safe? What's the point of that? And, like, if you did trust him, then why didn't they make more moves at the trade deadline? They didn't do anything at the trade deadline. If you knew you were going to bring him back, then why would you supposedly limit him to not making any moves to try and make this team better?
He didn't try to make the team better in the future, and he didn't try to make the team better now either.
Just did nothing.
John Mara releasing a statement. Joe Schoen will lead the head coach search. He'll miss on that too. So we can maybe be happy in 5 years. Eminence and shadow. I think the only person we keep is that offensive line coach. Yeah, if the new head coach wants him, sure. But they'll get to build their own staff unless John Mara forces them to hire an offensive coordinator like they did in Jason Garrett. Calm, soothing nature sounds. I could use a lot of that right now. Fire Daboll, Joseph, and Bowen. I'll drive to the airport myself. And Banks needs to be shipped to Canada. So, no, well, they won't do any of that because those are the right things to do. They did fire Daboll. They'll probably extend Shane Bowen, probably give Joe Schoen a contract extension, and they'll probably franchise tag Deontay Banks as well.
Should have made Shane Bowen the interim head coach at that point.
Losers. My man Rob Rodriguez in the building.
We got a 3-point goal. Rob Rodriguez.
Bang! Shout out to my guy Rob Rodriguez. $50 super chat. The biggest in the game, the greatest in the game. Shout out to my man Rob. What's up, buddy? Thank you for the love. Thank you for always supporting me, supporting this channel, bro. We're locked in, you know that. Says, can we start a boycott of the Giants and petition to fire Joe Schoen? I'd be happy to start the website people can sign. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I promise you, there is power with the voice of fans. There's power in the voice of fans. If we are loud enough and the Giants continue to do what they do, which is lose, they might change this.
It's like what we said, or you said on the video this morning. You're by telling Joe Schoen, like making a statement saying we're keeping him, we believe in him. You're telling him that the job he's done is acceptable. Does anyone think that Joe Schoen has done a good enough job as a Giants GM? Bottom line is he hasn't. This isn't a team that is just right there, and they need the right coach to take them there. Do they look like they are close? When you watch them play football, they don't look like they're close to being a good team. They look like they are far away from being a good team. They have their moments, sure. But it's not overall the product is not good enough. But that's what they're saying by allowing Joe Schoen by coming out and definitively saying Joe Schoen's going to keep his job. They're saying, Joe, you've done a great job. This is not your fault.
Joe Schoen sold John Mara on last year, Andrew Connell, that we are a quarterback away. We are a quarterback away. Well, now you have the rookie of the year at the quarterback, and you're 2-8. So how are you a quarterback away? Where's all the young talent that the Giants drafted that's supposed to that they documented is the reason they're keeping him? Where's that young talent?
Yeah. Now we're just a coach away, Marshall.
Oh, now we're a coach away.
Yeah. Now we're just a coach away. That's it. Unreal. Shout out to you, Rob Rodriguez. We appreciate the support.
You're just a coach away. You were a playmaker away in 2022.
Yep.
So then you drafted Malik Neighbors. Then you just needed Daniel Jones and Andrew Thomas to stay healthy. They did. Then it was just you're a quarterback away. And now you're a head coach away.
I don't know. I don't know what the next level is after that when inevitably the guy that Joe Schoen hires isn't good enough or they don't win games.
They are unserious. They're an unserious organization. But why am I shocked? They're the worst organization in the last 10 years in this league.
Yeah, they're making the Jets look good with the way they're handling everything right now, and that's saying something. So shout out to you, Rob. We appreciate you.
Rob, I appreciate it, man. I'm down bad. I'm down real bad.
The Kill Switch show. Daboll should have fired Bowen and maybe just he would keep his job until the end of the season, but he had to go anyway.
I agree. I think you might have won a couple more games if you fired Shane Bowen. I don't think they were allowing Brian Daboll to fire him. I cannot believe it. But why am I shocked? The Giants are stupid. Stupid things do stupid things. And the Giants are a stupid thing, and they're doing more stupid things by keeping Joe Schoen.
Dysfunctional teams do dysfunctional things, and firing the head coach, keeping the GM. It's right there. It's right there. Appreciate you, Kill Switch. Davey Dave coming in with 2.
Yeah. The Giants are infected by an addiction of losing, and yeah.
Ramdre 81. Joe shitting Daboll is a horrible look. No credibility. I'm assuming head coach candidate. Oh, no credible head coach candidate. Excuse me, is going to want to come here and be Joe's next scapegoat. Just another reason he needs to be fired. Yeah, and I think this super chat actually came in before the Joe Schoen announcement. So, Ramdre, you hit it right on the head. We talked about this before Brian Daboll was fired, that it's going to limit and diminish the attractiveness of this Giants head coach opening by being forced into working with a GM that, or limiting yourself to only a head coach who will want to work with Joe Schoen.
Unreal, man. I agree. Who's going to come here and want to work for him? I don't know. I don't know who's going to do it. I don't know, man. Look, it's the New York Giants. They're going to have a top 5 pick. You got Jaxson Dart, but
What's their cap situation?
it's the greatest.
It's the greatest.
It's the greatest. Joe Schoen, fix the cap, the greatest. He's the best. They don't have really any cap space next year. They're going to have to cut players. So we'll see what they do.
Help is not on the way.
Samuel, what up, my man? Appreciate the $10 super chat, brother. Thank you for the support. If you got a comment, a question, a take, you want to say something, we'd love to hear from you, man. Thank you, bro. Kenny, what's up, man? I wasn't really a huge fan of Daboll. Our defense has cost us 3 games. If we keep Joe and our DC, I'm gonna crash out very publicly. Get me Tomlin. I'd love to get Mike Tomlin.
No chance he's going to come work under Joe Schoen, I don't think. So you may have taken yourself out of the running for any established head coach at this point.
Man.
Shout out to you, Kenny. Appreciate the super chat. We got Clocks coming in with 20. He says, bro, love the show. You are truly educated, but can you imagine Belichick or better, in my view, Gruden, but the NFL blackballed Gruden? And you're right, the best of prayers to Mara.
Yeah, I think that Bill Belichick will likely get a call from John Mara. I'm not sure that the Giants will hire John Gruden, nor should they hire John Gruden. He hasn't had a winning season as a head coach since 2009. He's also in an active lawsuit against the National Football League. That's way too sticky of a situation for John Mara, John P.R. Mara, to go into. Look, I love John Gruden. I love how much he loves football. I love the way he speaks about football. He's a football sicko. Did we forget how bad of a job he did with the Raiders? I didn't. I got to witness that up close and personal, working for a company that covered the Raiders better than anyone else in the world. So for me, it's a pass on Gruden. It's a pass on Gruden. Appreciate you for the very nice words, Mr. Clocks. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Big Blue Boss coming in with 5. If Joe Schoen isn't fired by next offseason, none of this matters, and that is the scary part. But at least Daboll is gone. I see, but
So what, you're going to fire him next offseason?
yeah, because then you're going to have to get a GM, but you're not going to fire a coach after 1 year, so then you're going to have to get a GM with a coach already hired.
Oh, Joe Schoen's here another 5 years.
Yeah.
If you keep Joe Schoen after this season, he's here another 5 years. The tough decisions you don't make today will come back to bite you. John Mara didn't learn his lesson. He didn't make the decisions when he needed to last year. Now you're 2-8. Your season's ruined, and you had to fire a head coach, and you still don't understand you need to fire the GM as well. An addiction to losing. That's what the New York Giants have, and that's what Joe Schoen is. He's the greatest loser of all time. Nobody gets their team to pick in the top 10 more than Joe Schoen. 4th worst record in the NFL since Joe Schoen has taken over. And Andrew Connell, that factors in a fucking playoff run. Think about that. Joe Schoen has the 4th worst record in the NFL since he took over, and that factors in a year you went to the playoffs and you won a playoff game.
That was the best thing that ever happened to him, because it seems like that has bought him so much time and so much credibility in John Mara's eyes in order to turn this thing around. He is, what I'll give him is he is persuasive, obviously. He's getting John Mara to believe however he sees this, how his time with the Giants is unfolded, John Mara sees it that way. I think he's talked about how he's made the win now. He made some win now moves after the Giants went to the playoffs when they
how many games they win that next year?
Yeah. So, but that was the reason why he needed more time, and now apparently he's assembled this great young nucleus of talent that's developing, and they need the right coach to take them there. And Brian Daboll isn't that guy. So, Joe Schoen, I'll give him that. In terms of his own job, he's always thinking 5 steps ahead.
Cannot believe it. Yeah, Brasillo's a good coach. Brasillo's a good coach. Probably the best staff move Dabe's ever made. My man, what up, Jake? Jakai? I'm an idiot. I apologize. What up, Walker? Since Schoen is still here and Bowen hasn't also been fired, don't know how he is still employed, Schoen won't be fired this offseason either. Yep, Giants released a statement that they believe in Joe Schoen. They like the nucleus he's built of young talent, and he will lead the head coach search. Idiots. They're idiots, Jay Walker. Appreciate the love, my man. Free my boy Jameis if Dart is out next week. Yeah, if Jaxson Dart has to miss time and you're going to suit up Russell Wilson, you're committed to losing. You're committed to losing. Veda Fly, my guy. What's up, bro? Shane drafted Deontay Banks and Neal. He's got to go. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. But you have a brain, Veda Fly, and you know what the hell you're talking about. John Mara. Yeah. Giants 23-66. Fire Daboll. Bill with Shane. Let's go. Man, you're a sicko. You're a sickle.
Unless it's satirical.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's that, then you're really, really funny. If not, you're a sicko. Marty Malela, my man, $10 super chat. What's up, bro? Hello, Marshall. I'm a little late to the party. I was napping. Yeah. Glad you're here, Marty. Thank you for always being a real one. Thank you for always doing what you do.
Woke up to a bad dream. Joe Schoen has his job for a while.
I want to read this tweet from my guy, Bobby Skinner. Shout out to Bobby. Go support him. Go support his show. Says, 3rd time that John Mara has fired a head coach without the GM being fired. He fired Tommy Coughlin. He fired Tom Coughlin after 2015. He retained Jerry Reese. Reese and McAdoo were then fired in 2017. He fired Pat Shurmur after 2019 and retained Dave Gettleman. Gettleman and Judge were then fired after 2021. If you don't learn from your past mistakes, you're going to continue to make the same mistakes.
I mean, both of those instances work so well, right? I mean, Unbelievable.
You're walking down the same path of idiocy.
Shout out to you, Marty. Appreciate you being here, man. Fish on Jay. Sup, Marshall, real one. I didn't dislike Daboll. I actually liked him, but Joe Schoen is a real problem.
Yeah, Joe Schoen is the root of all of our problems. As soon as you fire Joe Schoen, you tell your fans we're committed to winning. As long as you employ Joe Schoen, you're telling your fans we are not committed to winning.
Bronx Boy coming in with 5 says, how many round 1 misses did Gettleman have? JS only he drafted Neal and Banks.
So what? Dave Gettleman's first draft was
Probably like 15, 16.
his first draft was 2018.
18, wow.
He took Saquon Barkley in round 1. Hit. He took Daniel Jones and Dexter Lawrence and DeAndre Baker in round 1. I'd say 1 hit there. Yeah, Jones is playing better with the Colts, but it didn't work for you. So missed on DeAndre Baker, missed on Daniel Jones, hit on Andrew Thomas, missed on Kadarius Toney. So you missed on 3 picks, 3 first-round picks.
Not only that, he traded out of the pick before Micah Parsons was selected to draft Kadarius Toney, pick up the extra first-round pick for next year, which he didn't make. But for the Giants, that turned into Kadarius Toney and Evan Neal when they could have had Micah Parsons. So
Yeah, not good. David Moses, what up, my man? Appreciate you, Vinny. Keep Jaxson Dart healthy and don't win no more than 3 games. We have to maintain the 3rd to 5th pick. Whatever it takes for Joe Schoen to be fired, I want to do it. If that means losing the next 7 games, do it. Do it.
Viv Beats, $10 super chat. We appreciate the support. Like Marshall said, if you have a question you want to get in, go ahead. We'd love to talk. So thank you for the super chat. Mike DeVito, $2 says, smart. Fire the only guy that believed in Dart.
Well, he's not the only guy to believe in Dart because Jaxson Dart's a fucking star. We got to stop thinking like that. There's not other head coaches that want to coach him. Brian Daboll earned the right to be fired. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that want to coach Jaxson Dart. I promise. I promise, Mike. Clocks, what up, my man? Bro, do you think at all the GM getting fired isn't on table yet is because Bill Belichick at this point in life wants both GM and head coach and they haven't gone there yet? No, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case. I don't. Chris B., appreciate you, Clocks. Why no John Gruden? Because John Gruden hasn't been the head coach of a winning team since 2009. John Gruden was a disaster as the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. John Gruden hasn't been a coach in the NFL in a long time. For Lane Kiffin, sure, bring him in on an interview, but if the only qualification you have for the job is you are Jaxson Dart's college coach, that shouldn't get you too far. That shouldn't get you too far.
Hush. Just like Tibbs, referring to the New York Knicks, I don't believe, not Kayvon Thibodeau. I need all the stench out. Get Kafka and Bowen out. I want to freshen you everything on the coaching side. This loser staff. See ya, Daboll. Yeah, I mean, it seems like Marshall's been very vocal about not wanting anyone from this regime. I mean, now they're keeping Joe Schoen, so they'll likely keep most of their front office staff, but at least from the coaching side to remain. We'll see what happens. Appreciate you, Hush. Bam Bam 1013. I'd like Bill Belichick in an office advisory position to get us the right GM and coaches. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. I mean, he's got probably connections through up and down the NFL. We've seen how many successful coaches have come out of the Bill Belichick coaching tree. He likely would be able to identify a good coach. We know he loves the Giants and has a special place in his heart for the New York Giants organization. So if he would potentially be able to do that, that would be great. But we'll see. I don't know. Would he leave a head coaching job he currently has in college to do just an advisory role? I don't know. John Mara may call him. He may just ask his advice, even if it's not in a formal way. But we don't know.
I don't want Bill Belichick to do anything except coach the team. I think he's kind of proven at this point he can't do GM things like trades and drafting. Again, and I don't even really want Bill Belichick as the head coach. I just kind of think that John Mara will call him to save the New York Giants. But yeah, I don't know about an advisory role.
Brand, $10. Do you think the Giants should have waited till the end of the season? Also, are you worried about Dart's development?
No, I don't think the Giants should have waited till the end of the season. I think they should fire Joe Schoen right now as well. That way they can hire the head coach and they can be ahead of the curve and be ready to hire a head coach right when the season ends. Am I worried about Jaxson Dart's development? No, because Jaxson Dart is succeeding with the worst supporting cast around him in the National Football League, and he's succeeding despite the New York Giants. I think this will be great for Jaxson Dart's development. If you want to share your thoughts as well.
Yeah, I think it became clear that the just Brian Daboll experiment as a coach this season wasn't working. He wasn't winning enough games, and everyone knew that they were going to move on from after the season. So there's no point in keeping him out there as a lame duck. On the part of Dart's development, it's not a good thing to obviously be in multiple systems and play with multiple coaches. You never want that to happen. You hope that the same quarterback is with the same coach, offensive coordinator, offensive system throughout his whole career. But we've seen how good Jaxson Dart is. I don't think that this is going to derail him or make him worse as a quarterback. A lot of times, sometimes when that happens, when a quarterback changes systems and they're not good, it's because they had an offensive coordinator who was good and went on to become a coach somewhere else. Theoretically, with the Giants hiring a new head coach, hopefully they should get a better coach for Jaxson Dart. It should only raise his level of play even further. I think that really should help him, like you said. I mean, it's not ideal by any means to have him to learn a whole new system, but the Giants should be getting hopefully a better coach in here. And that should only make Jaxson Dart better. So appreciate that, Brand. Randy Williams comes in with 10, says, I hope Mara gets well, but he's been a bad owner. 4 failed coaching hires and 2 failed GMs since Coughlin. That's why the Plains saying fix this dumpster fire are pointless. He doesn't know how.
I hope Mara gets well. Agreed. But he's been a bad owner. 4 failed coaching hires and 2 failed GMs since Coughlin. The Plains are saying, yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't think anyone is going to push back on that, Randy.
Can't argue with the results at the end of the day. It's just they just are what they are. So kind of in tune with that. Appreciate you, Randy. Viv Beats comes in with, do we really trust Mara to make the smart decision for our future? Yeah, it kind of hits on that with the results. The results haven't been there, so do we have confidence that the Giants are gonna get it right? Probably not. It's just they just haven't. There's no reason to believe they will. We hope they will get it right. We hope they'll do the right thing. We hope they'll hire the right head coach, but there's no reason to believe that they will.
Yeah, look, I want to believe that they can. No, I don't trust John Mara to get it right because John Mara is keeping Joe Schoen as the general manager of this football team, and Joe Schoen, as the general manager of this football team, is 20-40-1, the fourth worst record of any team in that time as the general manager of this team. I have no faith that John Mara will get it right. All I have is blind hope. All I have is blind optimism, because there is it is about I don't even know what I was saying. All I know is this team is dumb as hell. Sorry, I'm getting my
Bronx Boy 73. Why don't you ask Dabes for a change of $1? Because he leaves you a quarter short.
That is true. The fourth quarter Giants, not great, Bronx Boy, not great. I'm glad your dad jokes have come in and put a smile on my face. Yeah, I have optimism, and I don't really know what I'm saying. I have no faith in John Mara to get it right. I have hope that he can. It's only because I'm a Giants fan and I bleed blue. Bronx Boy says, I'll work harder. Yeah, or we're going to fire you. Or you know what? We'll keep you at your job because you suck at your job, and you're Joe Schoen. You're the Joe Schoen of this channel, Bronx Boy. Why did it take me so long to realize that? Love you, buddy. Sean Paul, what up, my man? Finally, that bald head is gone, but I do feel like we have a small pool of good coaches to pick from. Who are your top 3 head coach picks? Actually, we have the perfect substitute producer in for the moment because I can't wait to ask him about this question. The guy at the top of my list right now, super producer Trizzy, is your former offensive coordinator.
Doug Nussmeier? Or no, Clint Kubiak.
Trace covers the Saints here. If a Giants fan asked you, Trace, should they hire Clint Kubiak as their next head coach, what would you say are some pros and cons?
I would say pros. He knows how to scheme up an offense. I think he is a wizard when it comes to play calling. And I think he knows how to utilize the strengths of the roster while also trying to avoid the weaknesses. And kind of masking and covering those up. Last year, the Saints had a ton of injuries. Offensive line was terrible, but they found ways to utilize tight ends and extra running backs and fullbacks to bring extra protection for the quarterback or to open up extra lanes for the running. I also think when you talk about Clint Kubiak, part of the Kubiak family.
Yeah.
It's a football family through and through, and when you're a football family, you know the pigskin, you know it in between the hashes, you know how to coach, you know how to play, and you know how to execute at a level because there is that expectation. Cons-wise, he's had an up and down throughout his career, but all in all, I mean, he's looked good with New Orleans despite all the injuries. Seattle, he has flying right now. So I think Clint Kubiak should be at the top of a lot of people's lists when it comes to a head coach candidate for the Giants. Plus, he could work really, really well with Jaxson Dart, in my opinion, and I think that he could open up a lot of opportunities for Malik Neighbors. I think that that's somebody who could really feast in Clint Kubiak's game.
We saw, and you know, that New Orleans Saints offense, the first 2 games of the season, it was humming.
It was top 3 all-time scoring in the first 2 weeks, and then you saw what happened after injuries settle in. But you have a healthy roster. He has all of his toys available. That playground's really fun to hang out at, I'll tell you what.
He was the offensive coordinator for the Vikings in 2021. Did a great job of getting Justin Jefferson involved early in his career. I thought he did a good job last year using some playmakers for the Saints. And this year, he's doing a really good job of getting JSN the football. You have your own JSN at home. He's better. He's the greatest. It's Malik Neighbors. You got to find a way for him to be able to roll. Clint Kubiak is definitely at the top of my list alongside some others. We will have a full Brian Daboll replacements video out, Sean, on the channel as soon as we can get to it. Let's catch up on how far away are we from being fully caught up?
Like 20 plus.
Okay. We're going to do a quick little 10-ish minutes on Joe Schoen being retained as general manager. If you want to make a player L3 breaking news, Giants are keeping Joe Schoen, weigh in, want the Giants to fire Joe Schoen, hit that like button, and we'll kind of just do it like we did with the Daboll one. Maybe move over those photos of the draft picks with all the colors on them that I made. I think that's a good exercise to run through this quote. We have those photos from their statement as well that I want to read in this video as well.
Both of them, yeah.
Both of them. That'll be early on, and then just get to 8.
Okay.
And we can maybe chop it up on the back end.
Got you.
While you're building all that, we could just run through those supers. Run through these supers. You can just hop off screen, do what you got to do off screen, and we can roll on that. Sean, so make sure you're subscribed. You already are. You're a real one. Thank you, bro. James the Preacher Gaines, my man. What's up? Thank you for the love, man. We appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sahagins Detailing. What's up, Beast Mode? Thank you for the $5 super chat. We all like Daboll. Good guy. I hope Bowen is next, and it's Gruden time, but let's keep Calf. Yeah, look. Today is a day full of mixed emotions for me. I don't hate Brian Daboll. I actually like the man that is Brian Daboll. I like the way that I like a lot of things about Brian Daboll. But at the end of the day, he didn't win enough football games. And I like the Giants winning football games more than just about anything else in my life. And if you're not good enough to win football games, you got to make changes. Bowen, hope he's next. I'm not sure the Giants are going to fire Shane Bowen. I don't know if Mike Kafka has the decision-making power to fire Mr. Shane Bowen. That probably has to be a general manager thing. But, yeah, he should have been fired before Brian Daboll. He should have been fired after the Denver Broncos game. And then Daboll should have got a handful of games without Shane Bowen. But they didn't. For Gruden, I'm not really in on the Gruden hype train for that one. And for let's keep Mike Kafka, nah, clean house. Everyone that's employed needs to be unemployed by this team. And it needs to be anew. It needs to start a new one. Gennaro, my man, what's up, Brody? This was just a way for the front office to save face. If they want to win, Bowen and Joe have to go. This was not a win games decision at all. Mara should sell the team. It will be good for his health. This was just a way for the front office to save face. You have the hammer, and you're hitting the nail on the head. This was a move for Joe Schoen to save face. 100%. 100%. And it sounds like he was fired due to the front office more so than the general manager. And if the Giants wanted to win games, to your point, they would have fired Shane Bowen because he's the worst defensive coordinator in the NFL. And if you want to win games into the future, you'll fire Joe Schoen because all Joe Schoen does is lose no matter what. 20, 40, and 1 in his time as the general manager. He is the greatest GM in the league at getting his team to pick inside the top 10, GA. So, yeah, the Giants are not committed to winning. They're actually committed to losing, and they will stay committed to losing until they fire Joe Schoen and until they fire Shane Bowen. You're 100% right. Fam, what's up, Beast? Yeah, baby. LFG. Appreciate you, fam. I agree, man. Born a G-man. Thoughts on Gruden as head coach? I do not want John Gruden as the head coach of my football team. John Gruden has not had a winning season since 2009. Yeah, I'm not really all that interested in John Gruden. I actually just messaged my guy Mitchell Renz, who covers the Raiders here, and he covered John Gruden as the Raiders. I would like for him to come on the mic and tell you guys what he thinks about John Gruden as the head coach. But, yeah, there we are on that. Picho, my man, what up, Picho? Unfortunately, I think Bowen finishes out the season because there is no one among the staff who can step in. Marquand Manuel has been a defensive coordinator before. He's your DB coach. He could be the interim defensive coordinator. Andre Patterson, your D-line coach. He was a defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, but that was when Mike Zimmer was the head coach for the Vikings. He was their defensive coordinator. So, yes, he had the title. And Patterson, I think it would be Marquand Manuel. It's also his first year with the team, and the DB room has been terrible. Yeah. So, You had an easy day today to fire him. An easy day to fire Shane Bowen. You didn't do it. And now you're paying the price of it. Now you're going to pay the price of it. Can you go back to the prior super chat, Mr. Andrew Connell? I want Mitchell Renz to come in here and hop on the mic while I go and run to the restroom, because Mitchell Renz, the host of our Raiders channel, has covered the Raiders while they were coached by John Gruden. And Mitchell Renz, you would not believe it, I have been asked about John Gruden to be the head coach for the New York Giants 85 times. So I want you to tell the Giants fans why or why not that John Gruden might be a good idea. I think it's a good exercise and a chance for me to piss against the wall.
So here we go. Host of the Raiders Report by Chat Sports.
Oh, what's up, y'all? My name is Mitchell Renz. I am host of the Raiders Report, and just like a lot of y'all, I'm trying to figure out what the heck my organization is going to be doing at the quarterback and, well, honestly, at the head coach spot. I'll just say it like this. I think John Gruden is a really fun and entertaining guy to listen to, and I think because of all the, new videos, the new content that he's been making over at Barstool, he's been getting a lot of attention. My question to you out there would be this. Because when John Gruden was the head coach of the Raiders, I thought he was really, really bad in terms of being able to find talent in the draft. He was one of the worst in terms of going out, signing free agents, overspending left and right. And then a lot of the trades that Gruden made, they didn't really get a lot of attention either because there was a lot of really, really bad trades. So if you feel like right now your New York Giants roster is good enough to win right now and you don't need to add talent in the draft, you don't need to add talent in free agency, and you don't need to add talent in terms of trades, you're good with your roster, then I would entertain the idea of John Gruden. But I'll also say this. When you look at a lot of those John Gruden squads early on with the Raiders would start those seasons off solid. And then by the end of the year, teams would figure them out. And then the offense especially would really, really suffer. And I get it, man. Like, I get the idea of Gruden. He's a fun football guy. But to me, there's certain people like Brian Daboll. Certain guys are made to be offensive coordinators. Certain guys are made to be just, quarterback coaches in a sense. And I think, that's what Brian Daboll brought to the table. And he got probably a little bit more than he bit off than he could chew in New York. And, just like the New York Giants, the Las Vegas Raiders, I think, are in a very, very similar situation where you sit there and you go, is Brian Daboll a bad head coach? Or do we just have a really poorly ran organization? Because I'll sit here and I'll go, I don't know how the hell Joe Schoen gets to keep his job. To me, I almost make the argument you could fire Joe Schoen before you would have fired Brian Daboll. And, when it starts at the top, like Mara's a really frustrating owner because he's doing dumb shit all the time, just like Mark Davis. But I'll say this, there are so many other candidates, there are so many other coaches that I think could do a much, much better of a job than John Gruden. Like, I would want a young, innovative coach. I would want somebody that gets the best out of their quarterback play. And yeah, John Gruden is a quarterback whisperer of some sorts, but we're also talking about long, long time ago. Again, man, I'm not going to take Gruden. Like, I just saw a name down there, OTKP, Clint Kubiak, ASAP. I would take Clint Kubiak in a heartbeat over John Gruden. Like, there are right now, I actually wrote down a bunch of different coaches. I don't have my computer or my phone in front of me, but there was a bunch of names that I would have rather hired over John Gruden. Like, to me, Minter's going to be a name I'm going to throw out there. Kubiak's going to be a name I'm going to throw out there. I think Wes Phillips is a very, very interesting name, if I'm being 100% honest. What about a guy like Brian Flores? If you want to go on the defensive side of the football, there are a lot of names to go with. John Gruden is the sexy name. Doesn't mean it's the right name, and I am out on Gruden. Yeah, thank you, brother. Basically, if you don't need any talent in the draft, free agency, or trades, you're good with your roster, you hire.
Yep, and the Giants, they need all that. They need all of it. Thank you, buddy.
All right, we got Shout out to Mitchell Renz for coming on the Giants now and giving his 2 cents on John Gruden. Not really. He was just that he wouldn't really agree with hiring Gruden, and he thought that Daboll maybe is more of an offensive coordinator than a head coach. And yeah, just that kind of what he recapped to you at the end about if you just need him to coach football, then maybe John Gruden is your guy. But the Giants have much bigger problems than just the end product on the football field. That's where it starts. It's not where it ends.
All right. We ready to do this piece? Or you need more
Yeah,
time?
no,
or?
let me just show you what I got.
All right. Push over the next super chat, and we can have that in preview while we do that. Shout out to everybody in the building. Still over 1,600 people watching. If you haven't yet, please hit that thumbs up icon. It's free. It's easy. And we've been live for almost 2 hours at this point. Appreciate everybody that's tuned in to New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. Chris Blades, what up, my man? Who's the replacement? I'm completely surprised. We've needed this to happen. I think John Harbaugh would be a good candidate. Yeah, John Harbaugh would be a good candidate. He's got to be available. Well, the interim is Mike Kafka. Let's put these full screen just so I can read them.
Okay. Yeah.
In full screen bet. Look, there's should be one more. I think that was only 2. Cool. Seth Gross says, at this point, I'll take the ghost of John Madden. Guess who says we skipped a super chat? No, we didn't, brother. We haven't got to all the super chats. I appreciate you. I hope everybody can practice some patience with us. We want to give everybody the time and thought and effort to their super chats. So if we take long to get to yours, I apologize, but I promise I would not skip anybody's super chat that pays their hard-earned money to support this channel. That's mean. I would never intentionally do that unless you're Vinny Pip. Sean says, I'm still pumped that I won that $900 50-50 yesterday. Shout out to you, Sean. Word of advice, don't spend it all in one place unless it's here on New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. Shout out to you, Sean. Glad you were able to win that, my man. Thank you for supporting this channel, bro. You got the tweet link I sent you, the photo. I think it's like the video if you want Joe Schoen fired. Okay. Yeah, Chris, I don't know who is going to be fully on the list, but right now it is Mike Kafka doing the interim head coaching job. And we're going to get into a little video here, a little segment on Joe Schoen keeping his job. And then we will catch up on all the super chats. And then we'll stay live as long as you guys want to talk about it. As long as you guys want to talk about it. Probably tomorrow morning, we'll have a video on the channel with Brian Daboll replacements. Cool. Let's just push this across. Yeah. No. Yeah. Then that, come back to the big L3, into the statements. I share my thoughts on the statements. We'll go to the Bobby Skinner photo, and then we'll run through the draft picks. Cool. Great stuff. Can I get some ACs in the chat? My guy Andrew Connell, producer of the show, he's killing it on the ones and twos. Give me some ACs down in the comment section as we've got breaking news. Brian Daboll has been fired, but it sounds like Joe Schoen is going to keep his job. All righty. It says have fired announced. Let's go. Let's go. Shout out to y'all. Marty Malala in the building. Pete Joe in the building. Tiger Metal Stack. What's good? Dart 4200. Marsh, what do you think the next move is? Don't you think Joe Schoen should get fired first? I do. I do think Joe Schoen should have been fired. I think they actually did it backwards. I think Joe Schoen should have been fired today. Brian Daboll can be fired today as well. But you should fire the GM now so you can get ahead of the curve on the GM search. That way you're ready to hire a head coach when it's time to hire a head coach. But, yeah, the Giants, they don't really ever do what's right. All right, let's do it. In a day full of breaking news with the Giants firing Brian Daboll, it sounds like they are keeping Joe Schoen, and he is going to lead their head coach search. John Mara has released a statement that will make all Giants fans sick to their stomach. If you want the Giants to fire Joe Schoen, if you want the Giants to clean house and get back to competing and trying to win football games, hit that thumbs up icon right now. If the Giants are serious about winning, if the Giants want to commit to being a better franchise, they will fire Joe Schoen and they will start their search for a new GM. But the New York Giants that we know and love are addicted to losing, and they are keeping Joe Schoen, and they will stay a losing franchise. This is Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. This is why you subscribe to the channel. Help us get to our goal of 100,000 subs. This was a statement from the New York Giants on firing Brian Daboll and what they plan to do with Joe Schoen, saying the New York Giants announced today that head coach Brian Daboll has been relieved of his duties. Assistant head coach, offensive coordinator Mike Kafka will serve as an interim head coach. We spoke this morning about the direction of our franchise on the field, and we have decided at this time it's in our best interest to make a change at the head coaching position, John Mara and Steve Tisch said in a joint statement. The past few seasons have been nothing short of disappointing, and we have not met our expectations for this franchise. We understand the frustration of our fans, and we will work to deliver a significantly improved product. They're lying to your faces. We appreciate Coach Daboll for his contributions to our organization. We wish the Daboll family all the best in the future. They say, we understand the frustration, and we will work to deliver a significantly improved product. How can you say that you will work to deliver a significantly improved product if you are keeping Joe Schoen as the GM? Because you can't improve the product if you don't actually improve the product. Because Joe Schoen makes all the decisions, and that's why you're the worst team in the NFL. John Mara also said this: we feel like Joe has assembled a good young nucleus of talent, and we look forward to its development. Unfortunately, the results over the past 3 years have not been what any of us want. We take full responsibility for those results and look forward to the kind of success our fans expect. These are difficult decisions, and John and I do not take them lightly. But we feel like this is the right thing to do at this time and will all allow us to move forward. We feel like Joe has assembled a good young nucleus of talent. Well, that nucleus of talent has you at 2-8. And last year it had you pick third in the draft. And the year before that you picked sixth in the draft. And then you traded up for Deonte Banks in the back end of round 1. And you picked Evan Neal 7th overall. And you hit a bloop single on Kayvon Thibodeau. What young nucleus of talent has he brought in? Only an idiot does not learn lessons from their mistakes. And the Giants, they continue to make the same mistake over and over and over again. Shout out to Bobby Skinner. Go support him on Twitter. Go support him on his show, the Giants Nation Show on YouTube, as well as on podcast platforms. Thought he hit the nail on the head with this one. He says, this is the third time that John Mara has fired a head coach without the GM being fired. He fired Tom Coughlin after 2015. He then retained Jerry Reese, but then he fired Jerry Reese and McAdoo just 2 years later in 2017. He then fired Pat Shurmur after 2019 and retained Dave Gettleman. He then fired Gettleman and Judge 2 years later. He then has now fired Brian Daboll in 2025. He is retaining Joe Schoen, and the Giants are walking the same path they did in 2019 and 2015. Only a fool fails to learn from their mistakes. The Giants have made this mistake twice already. They're now trying to do it for a third time. You have nobody to blame but yourself, John Mara. Joe Schoen, you have failed the New York Giants. You have failed Brian Daboll. But most importantly, you have failed Giants fans. I want to go back to the quote. Joe Schoen has built a young nucleus of talent. How do you build a young nucleus of talent? By the NFL draft, right? We feel like Joe has assembled a good young nucleus of talent. I look forward to its development. So let's do an exercise. Let's go through all the draft picks he's made. Green means home run hit. Yellow means you got a single, maybe a double. And red would mean a total miss. So let's go to when he took over, 2022, where you had the 5th and 7th pick. I would say you hit a single with the Kayvon Thibodeau pick. Not a bust, not a home run, a serviceable player, a starter in this league, but not a game changer, not an impact player, probably never going to be a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro player. That's what you're supposed to get at number 5. You completely whiffed on Evan Neal. He's in year 4, and he is a healthy scratch every single week. Wan'Dale Robinson. I think he is a solid player at the receiver position, but I think he's extremely limited due to his size. He can't run routes down the field and make contested catches. He can only operate out of the slot, and I hope the New York Giants do not pay him a lot of money in free agency. You pick Joshua Zudu, number 67 overall. That is as premium of a premium pick as there is. He's not even on the active roster, or he doesn't suit up. Cordell Flott, that's a solid pick. I got to see more than what I've seen this year. If I'm just basing it off this year, it would be a green, but it can't just be a sample size of 5 good games in year 4. He's on the right path, though. I think Daniel Bellinger is a solid pick. I think he could be a starting tight end, too, in this league. I think Dane Belton is as close as it gets to a yellow pick, but he'll be off the team at the end of the year. He'll leave in free agency. The Giants won't pay him. I think Micah McFadden was a home run pick. That's a starting inside linebacker with the 146th selection. When it comes to DJ Davidson, Marcus McKeithen, and Darian Beavers, those are all major busts. So, the 2022 class, you have one green hit. Kayvon is close to a green. Wan'Dale is a solid pick. Cordell Flott trending in the right direction. Bellinger is solid. This is actually kind of close to maybe his best class, his worst class, 2023. You traded up for Deonte Banks. He's the worst player in football. John Michael Schmitz is a single of a hit, but it has a down arrow because he's finally starting to play like a top 22 center. But if you're picking a center, 57th overall, that should be a top 10 guy. So I lean closer to red than yellow here, but that's why I have yellow with the down arrow. And then Jalen Hyatt, Eric Gray, Trey Hawkins, Jordan Riley, Jervarius Owens. All misses. Every single one of them. This is in contention for the worst draft class of all time. Of all time. And then 2024. Malik Neighbors. As green as it gets. A home run. A future All-Pro. Already a Pro Bowler. Green. Tyler Nubin, miss, bust, red. 47th overall pick as a safety. That should be a down one, starting, impact player. He is not that. Andrew Phillips, I have him as a yellow, but it should be yellow with a down arrow. He has some high highs. He's got really low lows. Theo Johnson is a yellow. Tyrone Tracy, I have him as a yellow. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but getting an RB2 in round 5, I think it's a solid pick. And then Darius Musow, that is a miss for me. I think some people will say Tyrone Tracy should be a green. I disagree. A green is someone that has all-pro potential, or if you're factoring in where they are drafted, it is that could be impact. That's why I have it for Micah McFadden. I think Micah McFadden is a way better linebacker than Tyrone Tracy is a running back at this point. For 2025, I think it's way too soon to do that. Jaxson Dart looks like a green. I would give him a green. I think Abdul Carter is going to be a green. Marcus Poe hasn't played yet. Thomas Fedoni hasn't played yet. Corey Black, he's not looking like an impact player. We haven't seen anything from Darius Alexander that would say he's a green. It's just too soon for 2025. So I'm kind of waiting to uncover that young nucleus of talent that he's built. Because it doesn't bring anybody in free agency that grows here with the Giants. Yeah, he traded for Brian Burns. That was a hell of a move. But what about all the other misses? What about trading a third-round pick for Darren Waller? I don't know. I'll bring on my guy Andrew Connell to share his thoughts. Maybe you can kind of add some more context to this. I don't know. I don't understand how Joe Schoen continues to have a job. And not only that, he's now going to lead the head coach search to save the New York Giants.
Yeah, it's tough when you look at those results. Like, they don't lie. You see, and not even in the draft picks, but you see a top-heavy roster that has some exciting players, but not good enough, obviously, to get wins in the NFL. And then you look at some pretty big misses in the middle of that draft where good teams are built. Good teams, everyone, it's easy. Some people still mess it up, but it's easy to see who the can't-miss players are. Joe Schoen has drafted a few can't-miss players, Malik Neighbors, Abdul Carter. Those guys were run-the-card-in selections. But in the second round, he's missed on guys like John Michael Schmitz and Tyler Nubin. He's missed on trading up for Jalen Hyatt. He's missed on trading up for Deontay Banks. You drafted Evan Neal with the 7th overall pick. Like, imagine how much better the Giants would be if even half of those picks were good starting caliber players, which is what you should be getting in the first 3 rounds of the draft.
Pick 67 on Josh Azudu.
Yeah, I don't even think he's on the team anymore. So it's just...
And he can't get the kicker right.
You're not going to bat 1,000. Yeah, the kicker, that's a whole nother. We did do a video about it. We could do whole nother video about how he's mishandled the kicker position. He's just made too many mistakes. Hit rate has not been high enough. No one's going to hit on every single draft pick. It's impossible, although it seems like some teams, they do it every single year. But he's had too many misses and misses in big spots as well that nothing suggests that he's going to figure this out. The one thing that I convinced myself when they kept both of these guys last year, Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen, was that, okay, like maybe if people do a certain job long enough, like they will figure out how to do it eventually. Like you do something enough, you realize what works, you realize what doesn't work. Nothing is suggesting that Joe Schoen has figured it out. He hasn't gotten better as he's gone on.
And you're going to learn on the job as a first-time GM, but where are the results on learning on the job?
I don't have confidence that he's going to figure it out, and I don't think he earned the right to keep his job while Brian Daboll was fired.
They both have earned the right to be fired.
Yeah.
And they're not going to do it.
Nope.
Maybe if it falls off a cliff in the next 7 weeks, it does, but even if it does, then Andrew Connell, then you're behind on the GM search, which then is going to make you behind on the head coach search.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen John Mara he is not super convicted in his decisions. He waffled last year on whether or not he should keep these guys, whether or not he should let them go. He decided over it. He thought about it. He ultimately decided to keep them. We saw that But Joe Judge, the last New York Giants head coach to be fired, it was presumed, and I think there was multiple reports saying that he was safe, and then he had a terrible finish to the season, and they decided to scrap their plans and get rid of him. So even though he's come out and publicly supported Joe Schoen, I don't think that this may not be finished. It may not be done. Who knows?
What happens if Jaxson Dart has to miss the next 4 games due to a concussion, next 3 games due to a serious concussion, and the Giants lose out the rest of the year and they finish the year 2-15? You're Joe Schoen still job safe?
I don't know. I mean, I think the fans are not happy already, and it's only going to get louder and louder. And John Mara has shown that he cares about that. He values the like you said, the PR of the team. And if the PR of the team is that there's still a dumpster fire and people are flying planes over the stadium where fans aren't showing up to the games.
You know how many Green Bay Packers fans are going to be there this week?
It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad.
They are the most well-traveled fan base in the world. There's going to be so much green at MetLife, it's going to look like a Jets home game.
Yeah. And I don't know. We'll see. There's always that if the coach gets fired, sometimes it gives the team a bump. I don't know. Listen, none of these guys are going to be unhappy that Joe Schoen's still the GM. He's the guy who brought all these guys in for the most part. So it's better for them if he remains in charge. But I don't think the fans are happy. I don't think he's earned the right. We've talked about what you said is that John Mara, the message he's sending if he doesn't fire these guys in the video we did this morning before he actually did fire these guys, that the job you're doing is acceptable by not firing them. So he said, Brian Daboll, you did an unacceptable job. Joe Schoen, you did an acceptable job. And I don't think that's the reality.
If you want the Giants to fire Joe Schoen, if you want the Giants to be a serious organization that is a commitment to winning, they would do it, and you should want it. So hit that thumbs up icon. Make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. Please smarten up. Please, John Mara, and make the right decision.
All right, we appreciate you guys out here supporting. We are going to run through the Super Chats now. Want to let you know that if you are new here, you're here for the first time because Brian Daboll got fired and Joe Schoen kept his job. We do videos every single day. We were live about 30 minutes after the news broke about Brian Daboll losing his job. We do Giants watch parties every single week. If you're a big Giants fan, there's no reason to not be subscribed to this channel. We are going to be covering the head coach search every single day as new updates come out into the offseason. So, yeah, go ahead, subscribe to the channel. It's we're trying to get to 100K. We're trying to get to 97,000 today if we can. We're about 213 subscribers away from 97,000. And if you are subscribed, type me.
Yeah, I would lean towards making Scadaboo a green right now. I would.
I saw that as well, yeah. There are probably some greens in this draft class, that's for sure.
But we did that last year, too.
Yeah, like you could look at some of the
Andrew Phillips was a green after last year. Tyler Nubin was a yellow after last year. Tyrone Tracy was probably a green after last year.
Yeah.
It's what we do as fans. We overrate rookies.
And also, it's you need to see what they become as a player. The idea when people grade drafts right after, it makes no sense. You have no idea how this guy's going to play. You're grading maybe the perceived fit and potentially projecting growth, but it goes the other way too. Cordell Flott probably would have been a red earlier in his career, and now he's gotten better in his now 4th season. As he was one of the youngest players in the draft the year he got picked. It's natural for guys they should only get better as their career goes on. So it's tough. It doesn't make sense to do it even after one season, much less halfway through a season on this year's draft class. But yes, there are some promising players in this year's draft class that would help Joe Schoen's case for sure. But they got to stay healthy and they got to continue to get better and better.
I can't believe that Joe Schoen or Brian Daboll lost his job before Shane Bowen. And Shane Bowen is still employed. Unreal. It's me, $2 super chat. What up, man? I did it. Knew Sammy D would shine in Seattle. Yeah, he looks good in Seattle. He's got a good offensive coordinator in Clint Kubiak. Might be the head coach of the New York Giants. Callum Hughes, don't stop. We want a clean house. I agree. You did step 1 on the checklist today of firing Brian Daboll. It's now time to fire Joe Schoen. It's time. It's time. Fish on Jay, what up, my man? Joe Schoen is a snake oil salesman, and Mara is sap. Yeah, he's buying the BS. He's buying the BS. He is. I mean, what was it last year? We had an awesome rookie draft class.
Yep. No,
How's that 24 draft class looking right now?
When it comes to his own job, he is 5 steps ahead every single time. He knows what he's going to tell John Mara, how to he's the best at putting a positive spin on all of his moves.
Fix what's up here.
Yeah, I had it ready to go. But yeah, he's the best at putting a positive spin on everything that he does, and he's the best at coming up with excuses as well as to why the Giants aren't good enough. Sometimes you got to face the facts, look at the results, and not everything's going to go your way. So you can't just make an excuse about it if guys get hurt or yeah, I mean there's been a lot of injuries that have happened to key players in his tenure, but he drafted a lot of those guys, and the best ability is availability. And as well, when's the last time you heard Joe Schoen say smart, tough, and dependable? Because that was supposed to be the mantra of the Giants team under Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll. And if they had a team full of smart, tough, and dependable guys, they'd win a lot more football games.
You tell me they wouldn't be 2-7 3 years in a row if they had a roster full of 53 smart, tough, and dependable players?
Yeah. It's
Do you think this is an audition for Mike Kafka, or is it just you're filling the spot and?
I don't know. I don't know how they feel about Kafka. It's been like yo-yo with him in the Giants organization. They liked him a lot enough to try and hire him away from the Chiefs. That was considered like a coup at the time because he worked with Patrick Mahomes a lot, and then they took away his play calling. So then it's maybe we don't think that highly of you. But then they blocked him from getting head coach interviews with other teams. So now it's back to thinking, okay, maybe we do think highly of you. I don't know what they think of him in the Giants organization. I'm interested to see how the Giants offense looks without Brian Daboll and with Mike Kafka, and maybe we can get a read on who is more responsible for Jaxson Dart. Obviously, everyone probably had a role, but who is helping Jaxson Dart play the best? If he plays worse, maybe Brian Daboll had a role in Jaxson Dart playing well. If he plays better, maybe Mike Kafka was the reason behind developing Jaxson Dart and tailoring the game plan to his needs. It'll be interesting to see and what things change now with the Giants offense.
Interested to see what it looks like, if it looks any different. Again, offense really hasn't been the problem this year.
Yeah, that's true. So I don't know how much ownership he's going to take over the defensive side of the ball. Does that mean he works more with the defense and the Giants quarterback coach is going to take on a bigger role with the offense? It's Shea Tierney, correct? So I don't know. Can't really get worse on the defensive end. So hopefully he's got some ideas in order to change that up.
Yeah, we'll see. Kobe, what up, man? Daboll should have been the last to go from that group. You got rid of the one guy who believed in your franchise quarterback. Look, I'm not going to defend Joe Schoen, but he obviously believes in Jaxson Dart. Does he believe in Dart to the level that Daboll did? Obviously not, because this was my decision. Remember that, Brian Daboll? This was my decision to play Jaxson Dart. There's plenty of head coaches out there that want to coach Jaxson Dart. There's plenty. When you're the offensive rookie of the year, like Jaxson Dart will be, there will be coaches lining up to be his coach. Question is, will they be lining up to be the head coach under Joe Schoen? That's the question.
We'll see. We'll find out. Appreciate you. ERM, thoughts on the DC from the Chargers as the next head coach?
Jesse Minter, yeah, he's going to be on the list. He seems like one of the hotter coaching candidates at this point. I'm a little bit... I don't know if I want a defensive head coach, because I think no matter what, the most important thing should be hiring a head coach that can maximize Jaxson Dart. And I feel like with a defensive coach, that's hard, because even if you do hire a good offensive coordinator, they're going to be sniped and be a head coach a year later. And I don't want a revolving door at the OC spot. Look, you can win in this league with a defensive head coach. We've seen it. But I kind of lean towards wanting an offensive guy. That's how I've always kind of viewed it. But I just want the guy that's the best for the job and the guy that's going to win this team the most games.
Yeah, exactly. I think you cannot shoehorn yourself and say you're only going to look at a certain guy or a certain coordinator group or whatever, or you're only going to look at guys who've been head coaches before. You need to, like you said, cast a wide net. Interview. I want them to interview a lot of people and learn what different people would do with their team, what they think about the Giants roster, what their strategy would be to improve the team, make it better, call different plays, use different scheme. And then, like you said, hire the best guy, whether that's offense, whether that's defense. But if it's a tie between two guys, maybe you lean with the offensive guy because, like you said, you want a long-term partnership between head coach and quarterback. And specifically, you want Jaxson Dart to stay in the same system. We had super chats earlier about whether or not this was going to affect his development. It shouldn't, because in theory, the Giants are going to try and get a better coach than Brian Daboll. So it should only help Jaxson Dart be better. But if they hire a defensive coach, pair with an offensive coordinator that helps Jaxson Dart get better, and then he leaves, you run the risk of then hurting his development after that. Appreciate you, ERM. Good question. We got our guy Marty Malela coming in with 10. Says, any word on Dart's concussion, or is it too early to tell? I think he's going to have to go through the concussion protocol.
Every Giants player that has had a concussion this year has missed the following game. And you should not be rushing back Jaxson Dart right now.
Yeah, this season is not. There's not much left to play for the Giants this season in terms of trying to win as many games as possible. And it's sad to say that as we sit in the second week of November with still 6 or 7 weeks of football left to play. But yeah, Jaxson Dart's long-term health is what the Giants should be focused on right now.
I just pulled up a list. Of all the head coaches the Giants interviewed in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie Frazier, Brian Flores, Patrick Graham, Brian Daboll, Dan Quinn, Lou Anarumo.
It's not
So every other head coach he interviewed sucks.
Yeah.
Dan
Quinn,
Quinn.
Success last year in Washington. They're not doing as well this year. He has led a team to a Super Bowl. That was prior to obviously getting an interview with the Giants. But the rest of those guys, I believe, are current coordinators. None of them are head coaches around the NFL. So
He'll get it right this time, though, right?
Yep. He knows it. Was Brian Flores on that list? Did you say Brian Flores?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. We'll see. So, Marty, we don't know, no update on Jaxson Dart, but Marshall said that every Giants player that has suffered a concussion so far this season has not played the next week. So, there's that. Appreciate you, Marty. You're a real one. Nicole O'Brien, $10. Call me crazy, but I believe many of the players you don't think have talent actually do. It's the coaching, not saying I support Joe Schoen. He has bad energy.
Look, you can think they do. I can think they don't. We can argue till we're blue in the face, Miss O'Brien. The bottom line is the New York Giants have the 4th worst record in the Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll era. At some point, if these players were that good, Andrew Connell, they would win more football games.
Yeah, talent. When you have talent, you can overcome more mistakes that you make, or you can overcome poor coaching. The Giants, whatever it is, they do not have enough talent to overcome the mistakes that they made and the poor coaching that they may have. So that leads me to believe that there is a lot of room for this roster to improve. Because the best teams, they have a greater margin for error, and they still win games.
I just sent you a photo to TV. Can you pop that up on screen? Shout out to Bill Barnwell for this post. I think this one is a really good one. I wish we would have factored that into
Yeah. You want it full, or is that good?
Oh, that's fine. All right, so here's a list, Andrew, of all top 100 players all the players the Giants have picked inside the top 100 with Joe Schoen. And here is the player at their position that was next selected in that draft. Kayvon Thibodeau, Jermaine Johnson. I'd say Kayvon's a better player than Jermaine. Again, I think Kayvon is a fine player. I think he's a starter in this league. I don't think he's a superstar. I don't think he's an all-pro. I don't think he's a Pro Bowl guy.
Jermaine Johnson was also picked in the late 20s in this draft as well. So
I think it was
the mid-20s.
I want to say it was the teens. I'm not sure, though. You might be right. It was... He was 26. You're right. 26th.
So you're getting a similar caliber of player at the 5th overall pick and the 26th overall pick.
Evan Neal, Charles Cross. Charles Cross is a better player than Evan Neal, and that's not really a hard bar to fall.
If you took a snap this season, you've been a better player than Evan Neal. So
Wan'Dale Robinson, I think, is a fine player. John Mechie, I think Robinson is better than him, but they're also not listing George Pickens, who went in that draft as well. George Pickens was the 52nd pick in 2022, and he was on the board when the Giants could have picked him. I get it, some off-the-field stuff, but you should believe in your building that you can get the most out of that player. He's a star.
Yeah.
George Pickens is a star.
Imagine if the Giants had George Pickens opposite Malik Neighbors. This would be a scary offense. But, hey, he maybe wasn't smart, tough, and dependable, but, the Giants have prioritized.
Smart, tough, and dependable enough to be a Steeler, though.
Yeah, and to play and to make plays and to not be hurt, really, for the most part. So
you took Josh Azudu, 67th overall. He doesn't even play, not on the roster, game day roster, so any player is better. Cordell Flott, Marcus Jones. I'd say Flott is probably a little bit better player than him. Deontay Banks, Joey Porter Jr. It's not even close who is better there. JMS, Jake Andrews. Jake Andrews is the center for the Houston Texans. I'd say him and JMS are on the same tier. Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman. Cedric Tillman was actually the teammate of Jalen Hyatt at Tennessee. Cedric Tillman is a player that doesn't really play all that much either. In his career, he has
more touchdowns, I
63 receptions for 680 yards and 5 touchdowns. So better.
More touchdowns.
Yep, 5 more touchdowns. Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze. Neighbors is better than a Dunze. Tyler Nubin, Javon Bullard. Bullard's not that great of a player either, but it's also Nubin was a guy that was looked at as the consensus best safety in this class. And Drew Phillips and Kalen Bullock. I think Phillips is better. You've missed on a lot of top 100 picks, man.
Yeah, the fact that we didn't have, other than, what was it, Malik Neighbors, where we were like, yep, home run, better player.
Who was the home run pick here?
Other than Malik Neighbors, there was not one time where we were able to go, yep, quick, he's better player.
And if you want to reach on Kayvon Thibodeau, sure, but I think even Kayvon Thibodeau's biggest fans wouldn't say that was a home run pick at 5.
Yeah, so that's not a great track record. And you want to go to you want to even weigh that. So okay, surely if he hasn't hit on all his top picks, he's built so much depth for this team throughout the later rounds. Nope. It's just, I think the best case you can say for Joe Schoen as in his tenure with some of the moves is a mixed bag, and that's not really good enough. Shouldn't be good enough to keep your job.
Yeah, so whether you want to say they have talent, whether I want to say they don't have talent, you have the 4th worst record in the Joe Schoen era. If those players are talented, Miss Nicole O'Brien, it's time for them to start delivering wins to this football team. GK Vlogs, what up, Beast? Appreciate you in the super chat, my man. Maneo, what up? He's going to keep Mike Kafka at head coach. That would look, if Kafka earns the head coaching job and the Giants are awesome these next 7 games, I wouldn't hate it. Right now, though, I think it'd be a bad idea, but he's got 7 games to prove himself.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess putting some positive spin on that, it would be continuity for Jaxson Dart, getting to work with a guy who has been here since he was drafted. And if that is the case, if Mike Kafka does end up as the next coach of the Giants, it's probably because he had a lot to do with developing Jaxson Dart so far throughout his NFL career. So, shout out to you, Mineo. Guess who? Giants Nation Gruden is not the answer. Look at his last run with the Raiders. He comes with baggage. A. Pierce is not a DC. He is a linebacker coach. Rex for DC. Joe and Bowen, only stooges left. They need to go. Yeah, guess who and everyone else? We had our Raiders host, Mitchell Renz, come on and give a host of reasons why John Gruden didn't work out with the Raiders. I think that a lot of people would say that he's not the answer for the Giants. He's a big name. He's available, but that doesn't mean that he's the right answer for the Giants.
Yeah, I'm not a Gruden guy, and I'm not a Rex Ryan guy for DC, and I'm also not for Antonio Pierce. Yeah. 3 X's for Marsh on that one. Vinny, will Shane now move on from Banks, Hyatt, and Neal, or will he expect the new coach to unlock his misses? Well, I mean, it's the coach's fault they're no good. That's what they told us today.
That is a good point, Vinny. I don't know. That would be terrible. Like, that would so what would, let's say, if he does move on to you, is that growth from Joe Schoen? Then maybe he's able to admit some of his own mistakes if he moves on from Neal Banks and Hyatt, yeah, or is he going to further just drag this team onto the ground? But, yeah, you're right. The Giants are just a coach away from unlocking this roster to vaulting them into Super Bowl contention. Unreal. I don't think if the Giants bring back any of those 3 guys next year, that's just bad. That's just terrible. So I expect all 3 of those guys, I don't know if you feel the same way, to be off the roster after this year.
Well, it's Brian Daboll's fault they're no good, so they'll probably keep them and then just hire a new head coach, and they'll turn into all pros. That's what Joe Schoen is telling John Mara.
Oh, God.
1350 Joker. What up, my man? $5 super chat. Appreciate you. Fire everybody. Thank God we got Dart, though. Agreed. Michael, what's up, man? If Sean McDermott is canned after the first round of the playoff, no. I would consider him for the defensive coordinator. If you can't win with Josh Allen, you're not going to win with the New York Giants. So, no, I have no interest in him. CK, thoughts on Brian Flores as a head coach? I don't think it's a great fit here because he's not a guy that has a history of getting along with his quarterbacks. Go back and look at the relationship between he and Tua. I want a quarterback. I want a coach that's going to maximize my quarterback. Brian Flores is a hell of a DC, and he might just be a DC. I don't want him as my head coach.
Yeah, and he had mixed results with the Dolphins as well. Had some mediocre seasons, but ultimately was let go from there. With what has come out about his time in Miami, I'm not sure that's the kind of culture you want to build for your organization. He's also actively, I think, or I don't know if they settled, but he did sue the Giants or name them in a lawsuit a couple years ago. I don't know if that's still ongoing or not, but I can't. That would be there would have to be some reconciliation between Brian Flores and the Giants organization if he was going to be the next head coach of the New York Giants. Appreciate you, CK. Got our guy Josue. Says why? Clean house. This is BS. Yeah. There was just no need to come out and give a public display of support for Joe Schoen. Now, because now you're boxing yourself in to a hole. And now if you do end up wanting to fire him, you just look like you don't know what you're doing. You're changing your mind. You're waffling on your decisions. They could, like you said, March, they could have said, we're going to evaluate everything the rest of the season and go from there.
Unreal. Appreciate you, Josue. Danny, the Giants are the definition of insanity. Yep, they do the same thing over and over and over again, and they're like, wait, why are we losing, and why do we have to make more changes? 3 years later. So, yeah, not great. Dias. Shame as GM will limit the head coach. I think there's a chance that there's some head coach candidates that don't want to work with Joe Schoen. But you also have a really good young quarterback. You have Malik Neighbors. You have a star left tackle. You have talent on the D-line. How good are those guys? I'm not sure. But I think from a roster standpoint, the head coach vacancy should be one that is wanted. But do they want to work with Joe Schoen? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, it's also probably going to come down to what other jobs become available. There's still a lot of season left. A lot of teams may end up moving on from their head coach. How many of those teams are going to have a franchise quarterback in place already? How many of those teams are going to have the kind of pass rushers that the Giants have on the edge? How many of those teams are going to have a left tackle already in place? How many of those teams are going to have a wide receiver who is as talented as any in the league? How many of those teams are going to have a running back that had the success that Cam Scadaboo had before he was out injured and out for the year? So there are some pieces here for the Giants, but it'll be interesting, and it'll probably come down to when we find out what the clear candidates are that separate themselves, what other openings there are at that time.
Yeah. WDs, what up, man? So is Kafka, Joe, and Bowen next? If we're getting rid of one, they all got to go. No, in fact, they are keeping Joe Schoen, they've said, and Shane Bowen is not being fired, and yeah. So no, a lot of fun. Ty, what up, man? Get Shane out of there. If Daboll had to go, they should clean the house completely. Agreed. 100% agree with you, my man. 100% agree with you.
Agent Alpha, why wasn't Bowen fired with Daboll?
Because the Giants aren't serious about winning. I really don't know any other way to say it.
Yeah, they're happy with the job that Joe Schoen has done to this point as general manager of the Giants.
He's done a really good job. Really good job.
Miles.
Knowing Mara like Shane, is there realistically anything that can happen before the end of the year that could change his mind? I think losing the next 7 games should change his mind, but then you're just behind on the GM search, which means you're going to be behind on the head coach search. They can't stay out of their own way, Miles. They can't. Even when they do something right today, they double down on the wrong thing to make you not even excited about a day that we should be happy because the Giants are turning a new leaf and trying to commit to win. In fact, they double down on their losing commitment by giving Joe Schoen a vote of confidence. Yeah. Rich, what up, man? Tish and Mara are clueless. How many head coaches and GMs have we gone through in the last decade? This is the true definition of insanity. Shane cannot be allowed to pick the next head coach. You are 100% right, Mr. Rich. Yeah. We've seen it time and time again. Shout out to Bobby Skinner of Giants Nation Show on YouTube. Go support his show and give him a follow on Twitter, as well as support his show on all podcast feeds. Says, third time that John Mara's fired a head coach without the GM being fired. You fired Tom Coughlin in 2015. You kept the GM just to fire the GM and the new head coach 2 years later. Does that sound familiar? Because you did the same exact thing in 2019. And now you're doing the same exact thing again in 2025. Not great, Rich. Not great. Only a fool doesn't learn a lesson from their losses. Joe Schoen has a lot of lessons. And Joe Schoen has a lot of losses, and the Giants haven't learned their lesson yet. Oh, Brian Flores as head coach, Mike McDaniel as OC. Well, the Dolphins firing McDaniel. They've won some games. If you do hire Flores as the head coach, you got to have a really strong OC. McDaniel fits that bill.
They've only come out in support of him. I mean, they fired their GM and retained him, so I don't know. There's no guarantee he's going to be available, like you said.
Yeah. Ethan, what up, my man? Thank you for the love. Says, God help us if we luck into another 2022 season on the back of Dart next year. Shane will get credit and we'll be stuck with him even longer. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's the worst part. That's the worst part, my man.
It's a lose-lose.
It's a lose-lose.
Yeah.
It's a lose-lose. Call me, Nakomi. What up? Appreciate the $5 super chat. Good riddance. I never liked the hire. Should have hired Brian Flores and definitely should have drafted Shador. True culture changers. Yeah, we'll see if Shador Sanders, if and when he gets an opportunity to get there. We'll see. Kringle, just a thought. Start an online petition through Chat Sports to remove Bo and Shane and send to the Meretishes. Let's put it together. Hey, we've done them before. It might be time to break out the old petition book again. We've sent petitions to Giants now, or to Giants, 1925 Giants Drive. We did one to bench Daniel Jones and then to cut Daniel Jones. And they did it. Gug, La Familia, GUG. What combo would be equivalent to Andy Reid and Spagnuolo? Yeah, you don't recreate that. It's the best head coach in DC duo there is in the league. I don't know. If it was that easy, we would have already done it.
Yeah, I mean, like we're coming off being live pretty much shortly after the news happened. I think we're gonna do a more in-depth video with Brian Daboll replacements coming to the channel tomorrow or later today. So put some more thought into it, but it's hard to like you said, if it was that easy if those guys were that visible and easy, every team would have hired them already. So I don't know. More teams should probably be doing what they do, but we'll see. It's not that easy. Otherwise, they would have done it already, like you said.
Hector Cruz, it's early, but who's your round one pick? Best player available. If there's a player when you're on the clock that has a chance to be a Hall of Famer, pick him. That's where I'm at, Hector. Giants are not good enough to be picking for positional needs. They need to pick great football players. You need more of those. Duncan Walker, my man. Marsh for GM, that is all. I promise you guys this. If I got 61 games to be the Giants general manager, I may also go 20-40-1. I may also do that. Maelo, Cortez, Gruden head coach, Antonio Pierce, DC, Bill Belly, OC.
Bill Belichick.
You are a funny, funny man. You are a funny, funny man. Joseph, what up, my man? I heard news saying Joe Schoen could lead the next head coach search. I don't know if I trust him. Yeah, there's no reason to trust him. Why would you trust him? He hired Brian Daboll. He drafted Evan Neal. He traded up for Deonte Banks.
When you have an opportunity to keep a guy who made all those moves, you just have to do it.
You got to do it, man. You got to do it. When you have a guy that picks players and hits on them at the rate that Joe Schoen has, you got to do it. He's the greatest.
He's probably the best. Yeah, probably the best GM ever.
He's the best. He's the greatest. He's the greatest. Mr. Nix, what up? Does Joe Schoen have anything on ownership? Seems like it. Appreciate you, bro. Pete Joe, this organization is still gaslighting us into thinking we have enough talent on this team. Pete Joe, we are just a head coach away now. That's the news of the day.
That's it. It's just right there. It's right in front of us. That's an Aaron Boone line. It's right in front of us. It's right there. Bang the table. Yeah, man. Yeah, you're gonna wait. It's gonna be like that. We're gonna hear. We like the guys we have. We feel good about their development.
We don't need to add offensive talent. We're bringing back Neighbors and Scattaboo.
Exactly. So
we like our guys.
Yeah. Listen, how many teams have the guys we have and go 2-8?
It's right in front of us.
No, it's right in front. It's
it's right in front of us, man. Yeah, that'll work. Pete Joe. Just remember, the Giants told you today, Pete Joe, they are a head coach away from competing. That's what they told you. Retro! What up, Beast? Fire Bowen and Shane and get rid of the family members in the front office. Enough is enough. None can evaluate talent. Look at the subpar roster. 100% agree. 100% agree, my man. You are bullseye. You're on the money. Thank you, Retro. Demons Row. How does Daboll get fired? He chose Dart. GM wanted Sanders. He had Dart balling with the worst receivers in the league. He lost because Shane gave him no depth, and the defense is horrible. Yeah, Brian Daboll got fired because the Giants lost a lot of games this year. Why did the Giants lose a lot of games this year? Their defense stinks. Where did Joe Schoen spend all the money this offseason? The defense. Who did Joe Schoen pick number 3 overall? The defense. Who did Joe Schoen pick number 65 overall? The defense. Everything this offseason was built to have a defense around a rookie quarterback. But in fact, you are losing games because your defense and the head coach you fired, which earned the right to be fired, let's make that crystal clear, his side of the ball was actually good this year with dog shit weapons that were supplied to him by a dog shit GM.
I'm kind of like looking at the long-term implications, thinking about the Joe Schoen thing and the long-term implications as well. The most important time, what's so important for this organization going forward is Jaxson Dart's rookie contract. And now Joe Schoen is going to be tasked with building the team throughout that. It becomes a lot harder if Jaxson Dart continues to develop into a franchise quarterback and he's going to earn himself a second contract from the Giants. It becomes a lot harder to build a team that way. And Joe Schoen has to maximize the opportunity that Jaxson Dart's on while Jaxson Dart's on his rookie contract. And not sure I feel too great about that. So we will see.
Not great, Demons Row. Darren the Tuber, my man. What's up, brother? Packers fan here, but still love you, Marsh. Go Giants. Thank you, brother. Thank you, my man. Miguel, John Mara has officially become the new James Dolan. He is the worst owner in the league. Joe must go. I agree. But James Dolan was smart enough to hire someone and put them in place and let them run the operation and be hands off. And now the Knicks are the best organization in all of New York sports. Will John Mara ever do that?
Took him a long time before he did do that, but he did. That was the best thing he ever did. While we're talking Knicks crossovers, the whole Belichick idea has me thinking Phil
Jackson.
Yeah, and I don't love that. So,
yeah.
We'll see. Shout out to you, Miguel. Michael Champlin. Hey, Marsh, do you think there will be a brand new staff from the position coaches to coordinators cleaning the entire house?
I have no idea, man. I have no idea. I thought they would wisen up and smarten up and fire Joe Schoen. The new staff will be, if you're talking about next year, that'll be dependent on the new head coach. The new head coach will be the guy that is in charge of building that staff. Excuse me. So it's on him. It's on him. If he wants to keep some of the old staff guys, he will. If he doesn't, he doesn't. The new head coach will decide what the staff is.
Guess who? I'm pretty sure we read your super chat. If this is the one you're talking about, we went through this already. He said he's reading we're reading everyone after his. We went through the super chat.
Yeah,
so.
we already went over this, brother. Yeah, I agree with you. Except for you want Rex's DC, which I do not at all. Yeah. KP.
I'm at the point where I think Mara needs to consider giving up or bringing in a consultant. This will be the third regime in a row of embarrassing football. As the owner, your choices are poor as well.
Not going to fight you on that one, my man. You're right. They have not done a lot of winning at 1925 Giants Drive, my man. So, yeah, I've kind of hinted that they could use a president of football operations.
Doesn't sound like that's happening.
No, it sounds like Joe Schoen's allowed to willy-nilly do whatever he wants, which has got us into this beautiful problem we're in right now, which is we just win too many games. That's what the Giants do under Joe Schoen. They win too many games that they have to fire their head coach. Yeah, brutal.
Jack Whitman. Shane drafts have been better when not picking for need and taking the best player available. However, he alienates players, he lets talent walk, and he is 50-50 on trades.
Yeah, they should fire him. They should fire him. They should fire him. You're a smart man, Jack. Thanks for supporting the show. Thanks for being here, my man. 100% agreement with you. Yeah, they should fire him. They should fire him.
DK, can we all boycott going to the game so we can get Shane fired? Start a movement.
Oh, do you know how many green shirts there's going to be? Yellow cheese heads at MetLife Stadium next week? It's going to look like a Jets home game. You thought there was a lot of red in the stands for the Niners games? Packers fans travel better, and this is after you lost 2 games since then. Yeah, if you're a Giants fan, sell your tickets to a Packers fan. Do it. Do it.
Adam Yildiz, I would have kept Dave's over Joe to BH. I have a genuine challenge. Sell me on Joe Schoen.
I can't. There are people that will say, well, he got you Dart. He got you Neighbors. He got you Scadaboo. He got you Abdul Carter. What else did he get him?
But
Brian
Marshall,
Burns.
the video board.
Oh, yeah, the video board, the LED lights. We're no longer using fax machines. We use email now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that was a innovative idea by Joe Schoen. Like, credit to him, man. How did he come up with that stuff? I mean, yeah, he did bring in Neighbors, Scadaboo, Dart, Burns. But, like, look at also all the players that he let leave and that were already here before he got here. Dexter Lawrence, Andrew Thomas are already here. He let Saquon Barkley walk. He let Xavier McKinney walk. He let Julian Love walk. We've done videos on this channel about all the guys that Joe Schoen has let go and who he has replaced them with. And listen, if the sum of Joe Schoen's moves were good or positive, the Giants would be winning more games. They're just not. So it's hard to. I'm not even sure. I guess nobody but Joe Schoen can sell Joe Schoen. That's pretty much what it seems like at this point.
He's the greatest.
The best. He's the best at selling himself. That's the only time he has a strategy.
Joe Schoen, no strategy.
So appreciate you, Adam.
I had a strategy, and I tried the strategy, and it didn't work. It didn't work.
That's must have been what he said. That's why they needed a head coach, because that was the he had the strategy with Brian Daboll, and he tried that strategy with Brian Daboll, and it didn't work. So he needs a new plan now.
And why Nets? Brian Daboll, best of luck, buddy. Once coach of the year. Yeah, I like Brian Daboll. I didn't love him as my head coach, but I like Brian Daboll.
You know what's going to happen? He's going to go somewhere, and he's going to be good as an offensive coordinator. That's what's going to happen.
We'll see. We'll see. We ass. Dart 7 TDs, Scat 7 TDs. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, both those guys are good players.
Good. They're good football players. I mean, like we said, it's been well documented that Brian Daboll was more of the driving force behind drafting Jaxson Dart than Joe Schoen. Cam Scadaboo, get credit for that pick. I mean, the whole NFL kind of slept on him. He was a beast in college. I guess I don't know why he fell to the 4th round or what his perceived weaknesses were, but
he also passed on him at 65.
Yeah, so I don't know.
He picked him. He gets the credit.
Yeah. If
Good
we're going to knock him for his bad picks, we got to give him credit for his good ones. And right now, Cam Scadaboo looks good.
Those are both 2 good picks.
Yeah. Good job, Joe.
We ass. Love that. Briner. Keeping Shane only brings me a fear that Kafka is our new head coach for the long run. Other head coach candidates won't come with a GM on the hot seat. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it's a real dilemma.
It brings up a larger issue is that I think Joe Schoen is going to try and get a younger head coach so that he can kind of have more control. If you're a younger head coach, you're maybe not going to go and stand up and pound the table for in roster decisions or arguments with Joe Schoen as an experienced head coach who's established. So Joe Schoen, a master at winning power struggles, it seems like.
Jason, everyone is using Brian as the scapegoat. Yeah, it's actually disgusting. It's actually disgusting. Belichick, I think John Mara will call him. I don't know if it's the best move. Shout out to Nicholas as well, asking for Belichick. Look, I don't know if I think it's the best idea, but I would believe that John Mara calls him. We'll see, though. We'll see. We asked, Shane planned the trap for Daboll to lose his job. Yeah, I don't know about a trap, but he sold himself that I'm not the problem, the head coach is the problem. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. Mike F., my guy, long time no see, brother. Smart, tough, and dependable players don't rack up the penalties we have. Is that coaching? Is that coaching? Oh, that's weird. That's weird. Mike F., you're never wrong. You're never wrong, my man. We love you, bro. Dr. Checkmate, Broncos fan here. As much as I would hate to lose him, Vance Joseph, yes. Spotty record with the Broncos, but deserves another chance somewhere. I think that he is a heck of a defensive coordinator. I don't want to pigeonhole myself into only having an offensive head coach.
Give him an interview.
Yeah, give him an interview.
See what his ideas are, who he's going to bring in as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, you better have a damn good offensive coordinator.
Yep, that's what I think. I think not only, obviously, you want to open yourself up to the most candidates possible in order to just make sure you get the right guy. But hearing different perspectives from around the NFL about what they think the Giants do well, what they think about the state of their roster, what they would do differently with the offense, what they do differently with the defense, the Giants should only learn from that and get better, hopefully. We'll see.
Jason, my man, I do like Gruden because he likes Dart, and he has experience being a head coach. No more first-time head coaches. We need experience. Yeah, we'll see. I'm not a big fan of John Gruden as the head coach, but he does like Dart, and he has experience. I'm sure there's a lot of head coaches that like Dart. I'm sure there is. Michael Champlin, my man. Next year's opponents include the NFC West and the AFC South. Going to be another tough year, especially with a new head coach. NFC West, so Niners, Seahawks.
That's a tough one. AFC South, not the worst, but the Colts obviously having a good
Colts, Jags, Texans, Titans. You'll have a last place schedule again. We'll see. We will see. Picho, Kubiak head coach, Ed Reed,
year.
DC.
Ed Reed, that's the first time I've heard
Ooh,
that.
I like that. I like that.
He's coaching in college, I think.
Yeah. I like Kubiak. If I had to say today, Kubiak's number one on my list. Picho, you the man. Jason, Shador on the Giants? Heck no. I'm so glad we didn't draft that diva. I'm happy with the quarterback we have. My man King Kenya. Another year with a Joe Schoen team, so we will be a lottery team again. King Kenya, you get it. I understand it now. Shout out to you, King Kenya. Big Blue Boss. Made a mistake earlier. Fire Joe Schoen today. Yep, they should have. They should have. But that'd be the right thing to do. And the Giants, they don't really do the right thing ever. Renton, Antonio Pierce could get a chance. Yeah, he could. I hope not. I hope not. Ethan, if Joe Schoen were to be tossed in the bin where he belongs, I've seen speculation around Chiefs assistant GM Borgonzi.
Too bad he is the GM of the Tennessee Titans now.
Yeah.
So
He's the Titans GM. Big Doja. R.I.P. Dabes. Hey, at least we won the Colts last year. How about that culture one?
yeah, that was great. That really helped out the Giants. And you know what? It's hard to argue because you end up with Abdul Carter and Jaxson Dart, so it works out anyway. But
Don't tell me the game was for culture, though.
yeah, don't like. Remember the vibe around the Giants when they were winning every single game in 2022, and Brian Daboll, everyone was saying how awesome he was. It seems like it was so long ago.
Hey, don't worry, though. We're just a coach away.
That's it.
Mario, ex-McKinney is seriously going to return to this. Yeah, and he's going to get to play against Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston. I don't think Dart's playing this week. Could be wrong. Could be wrong. Rob Simpy in the building. What up, Mr. Rob Simpy? He says, me just sad today. This is just not right. Shane needs to go. Mara needs to go. Let Tish run the show or the new co-owner. All right. We're going to sign off on today's show. We've been live for 3 hours. I need time to sit, relax, process, and get videos for you guys tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, we have a video out on the channel. Tom Brady. Brian Daboll replacements. Brian Daboll replacements on the channel tomorrow morning. Subscribe. Turn those notifications on. And Serene says Kubiak or McCarthy, nobody else. Okay. I do like Kubiak. I think McCarthy should get an interview. S-Teacher Planner, what up, sweetie? Says, I just got here. Oh, we'll go live for 3 more hours for you. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm emotionally broken. And I'm depressed, as all of y'all are as well. News of the day. Brian Daboll has been fired. Joe Schoen is leading the next head coach search. And we'll see what happens next on the reality TV show that is the New York Giants. We'll see you later. Love you guys.